I realize I need to quickly leak a quick DM. Quick DM leak for the boys. For the boys, leak it out, let it leak. There we go. We're back in. We're back in. We're back in. Last stream, 1 week. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go.
Welcome to Costco. I love
Gravity not working? Don't lie to me. Don't you lie to me. We know for a fact it's working. Sup, boss? Hey, baby. Hey, baby. How you doing, baby? Fun? Hey, Game Maker. How you doing? No, it's not. Actually, it is. It is. For sure. I've checked. I double-checked. I've double-checked several times. It's live like it's 95.
Welcome to Costco. I love you.
There we go. Soulburn, thank you. 28 months. Let's go. That's a long time. Thank you for following. Dante. My boy Dante. All right. Can't believe streamers can read chat. Yeah, I know. They can. Nola, thank you very much for that. I appreciate it. Then they lied to me. Happy Labor Day for those who have it. I'm not even sure what that even means. Happy day of laboring. I'm going to labor well. Maybe even produce a small baby of labor. You know, I realized I got to find out when my flight takes off. Hey, Dad. Hey, son. My guy. It's a holiday in most countries. Is today a holiday? Chat Jippity, is today a holiday? Durhans, thank you very much. Hey, Zaddy. Yes? Well, shit.
Welcome to Costco.
Infernoid, thank you very much. And Kevwald, thank you very much for the tier 1 and the tier 1, baby. Tier 1, tier 1. 10 months, 2 months, that's 12 months last time I checked. We got 3 of them this month. Wait, what? This early morning stream prime? No, yeah, okay, it's a little earlier. Soviet hymn intensifies. Yeah. What is this? Some sort of Labor Day.
Welcome to Costco.
Stupidest holiday in the universe, honestly. Akondre. Thank you very much. Find something else. Just find something else to celebrate. Tier 1. Hey, Jens. What is Zig and where can I buy one? Also, thanks for creating amazing content. Thank you, Jens. I appreciate that. Big Sir Holy Pot, you're always gifting like 1 sub per day. Thank you. I appreciate that. Too early. I'm on my first cup of coffee. I know. I'm kind of there right now. I'm kind of right there. Kind of jealous. What are you jealous of? Katra Seth, because I got that weird word dyslexia where I see things that aren't there.
Welcome to Costco.
When I saw the word Seth, I kept swearing I saw the word Seth Drums, and I kept looking around for it, and it would like flicker in the side of my eye. I'm like, where is Seth? Why don't I see? Where is he? Thank you, Gomerson. Appreciate that. Didn't in the Bible, is it Habakkuk that goes and marries the lady named Gomer? Did I get that correct? I can't remember. I'm not good at this stuff. Hey, man, I've been watching your videos for the past month or so. First time on stream. Thank you. Hey, thank you. Okay. Are we going to complain about Karen stream on holiday? Where is HR? Jose. Okay. I'm way off. Hosea. I can't even say the name. We watching Vercel ship? No, it's not today, is it? I thought it was later on. I thought it was on a Toys Day. I will be watching Vercel ship from the Vercel headquarters. If it makes you feel crazy how few are tentacles I can in 5 hours. Yeah. A lot of shifts off topic. Yeah, exactly. Reading multi-page text or suggestions to realize it was a fucking April Fool's joke. Vercel D's nuts. Yeah. It's nearly noon here. Thank you for the amazing algorithms course. You're welcome. I actually wanted to do a moment. I wanted to take a moment and talk about that because I do find it very, very important. Pablensky, thank you for the 6 months in advance. Hey, Gizmal Dev, thank you for gizmaling on me with your bits. Thank you for the 6 months up front. Let's go. First time on stream. Too glad to catch it live today. Hey, thank you. Thoughts on WebML? I'm not even sure what WebML is. It sounds like WebMD. Does it diagnose me with the accuracy of my hypochondria? Let's see. 1 year down, many more to go. Let's go coding with Kyle. I don't believe you, but thank you. Should a dude learn assembly as a developer? I don't think it's bad knowing a little bit. I did a project way back in the day with assembly. I mean, I don't think it's bad. Anytime you learn more about how something might actually work, the only more concrete your understanding of what your programming is. That's it, right? So would it ever be bad to learn more? No.
I love you.
Thanks for the stream, Dad. No problem, son. You're going to do let's see. Yeah, doing the course at the moment is awesome. Really great. I've been in software dev for 5 years, and it's still super helpful. Interesting. Awesome. It should be.
I love you.
Anytime you learn something about how the world works, right? Like, if you've never thought about how the DOM works, like when you select out an element, when you do query selector, what happens? Right? Like, if you don't even know how to depth first search a node, you won't even know how it works, right? But then just a simple understanding of depth first search makes it go, oh yeah. That's simple, right? It's actually shocking how easy it is. Manu Kusu! Finally able to catch the live stream. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Many do. Gabby, again, super controversial opinion. You may not agree. Programming is kind of cool. It's like mid, honestly. Pedro Xander, thank you. Ah!
That scared me.
Such a dweeb. I'm such a dweeb. Pedro, thank you very much, Porque Maria.
Welcome to Costco.
Thank you.
I love you.
I think I'm saying your name remotely correct. Such a dummy. God, that was a great one. It wasn't a great. You've made tech fun. The general outlook is very dystopian. Thank you. I'm trying to make it fun because honestly, I don't know what the future's going to hold. I don't think any of us know what the future's going to hold. I mean, literally, if you were in web 15 years ago, would you think JavaScript was going to be as popular as it was today? No, of course not. So, do I think I know what's going to happen? No, I don't. I'm not a fool. You know what I mean? Okay. I don't have any thoughts on that. MTech, thank you very much. You got me good. You got me good. Just found out about Dr. Disrespect until you mentioned it was a recent video. I checked him out and realized you guys are so similar. Who is copying who, though? You guys say, yeah. Okay, so yeah is definitely a Dr. D thing.
Welcome to Costco. I love you.
The name is, I don't know where I got that one from. To tell you the honest truth, okay, to tell you the honest truth about the name is, let me think about this for a second. I'm pretty sure I know exactly what. Okay, so have you ever watched Davey 504? Did anyone ever watch Davey 504? One's in the chat if you've watched Davey 504. If you watch Davey 504, one in the chat. Okay. Okay, so we got some ones. We got some ones in here. We got some ones. We got some ones coming in. Okay, not a lot, but there's definitely one bassist. Yeah. So I really liked how Davey, he had these like ways in which he referred to people. He had these like things that he would say over and over again, and I loved it. So he'd always be like, "What's up, slappers?" Right? And I love that. So I needed something in which I could also do like that. And so what I realized is that I needed some phrase, some catchphrase, something I had to say at the end. And no one can pronounce my name correctly. Nobody, ever. So I went, okay, what can I do to get people to pronounce my name correctly? I can just start saying my name. And that's literally what I did, and that's not even a joke. That's how I came up with it. All right, Over Devio, thank you for the tier 3. Over Devio, the man with the olive oil Twitter picture. The name is ThePrimeagen. Wait, what? What is your name, Prime? ThePrimeagen. What does your name mean? It means guy. Not that hard to pronounce your name. It is. Sent you a Discord DM about a potential thing that's kind of different but kind of cool. Okay, I'm not going to check it. Don't try to bait me into... Cam, don't let me expose you. Did Dr. Disrespect quit Twitch and get hired by Netflix? No. Deep Sixth. I'm going to appreciate the name. I'll appreciate it. I'm fully exposed already. Any chance I can get full VODs? Yeah, they're Gomer, they're literally on Twitch. They're on Twitch. Right here. ThePrimeagen. Tomorrow, Friday's video will be available tomorrow. Sorry, so I've been really bad. No, I don't want to subscribe to myself. But yeah, this thing just came out 2 hours ago. Paid comment, paid actor. Real. Hey, Casey, thank you for that. I appreciate that brand new Twitch Prime. I don't know what you changed on YouTube, but you've been on the top of my recommendations for a week, but it's a good thing. Hey, you're welcome, baby. Oh, I was looking for the Zig one. Zig one comes out tomorrow. tomorrow in the AM. I'm going to definitely go deep on Zig. I figured out what I want to build. Papa, when are you going to teach F sharp? No. Never. How's the steakhouse? It was okay. Bisco. I wouldn't say like I loved it, but I would say it was okay. I heard you were doing Zig now. Is Rust kill? No, it's definitely different than Rust. Here's the thing. Hey, Muffin Hydro, thank you. VS Code is God tier.
I love you.
Yeah, notice that's a little G God, okay? Because it's fake. Okay, it's like some Roman god in which we all laugh at because they're too busy owning each other. Okay? Stupid. It's not even like Kronos or Aegeus, okay? Not even like at least something real. Viper Ranger, thank you for that tier 1. Let's go. Thank you very, very much. Hey, you are one of the rarest persons who's in my new pipe subscriber list, PrimeageN. Thank you. Love from India. Well, hey, love back at you. Are there job opportunities with Lisp?
Welcome to Costco.
I don't write Lisp, dog. Andrea.
Welcome to Costco.
Andrea X.
I love you.
Thank you for the hello. And welcome back. Does Zig have all the ML? No, it doesn't. Thank you, Rompatomp. I will say that I do miss like the ML features. I do miss the trade system in Rust. In Rust for Zig. Closure is quite popular in web dev. Yeah, is that a Lispy one? Love from Paraguay. Nice. Well, hello, Paraguay.
Welcome to Costco.
The entire place.
I love you.
Real talk. I really do love the trade system in Rust. I do. I love the fact that I can create iterators and add stuff to iterators and be able to have my own things. You know, I love that. You can't do that in Lisp or in Zig as far as I can tell. A lot of new beginner devs watch you. Okay, good. I'm a little bit surprised that new devs watch me, to tell you the honest truth, because I really do go fast and I don't even try. Like, I don't even try to like make this a beginner-friendly stream.
Welcome to Costco.
2 months of Prime, let's go. Well, let's go. But I do mean it, that I really do appreciate all the new devs. And honestly, hey, okay, nice. We got some people. We're going. I do want to let you guys know that I do this intentionally because I want new devs to have a good time. And the thing is if I'm always explaining everything from the basics, like I'm just spoon feeding you all the time. I just want to give you words to look up, honestly. V Blinden, wanted to say that you brought back a lot of joy. There you go. This is it. This is what I'm going for right here, people. This is what we should strive for. You gotta have that joy, man. If you don't have that joy, if you're not finding programming fun, like it's so hard to get better. You know what I mean?
Costco.
Like, if you're not genuinely having a good time and you're only purely in it for the money, which, by the way, money does motivate to a certain extent. Honestly, it is so hard to keep going because here's what, like, if your motivation to say is money, which is, I mean, it's not a bad motivation. We are all motivated in some level by money. You're going to keep on going. And then you're going to hit a certain level. And you're just going to stop because you've hit it. You've hit exactly what you need to do, and you don't have to move forward in life, right? You're like, I've achieved what I want, and that's that. And I'm not saying that's bad. There's other things you may want to achieve in your life, and that's important, long as you're deep diving on something, right?
Welcome
long
to
as you
Costco.
understand that happiness is not derived from your job, you're probably doing pretty well, right? But if you're genuinely interested in tech, not only will the money come, it will come more abundantly, right? It's almost like a C.S. Lewis quote. Those, like, you could kind of invert what C.S. Lewis says. Those that seek money will probably not find money, but those that seek, curiosity will probably find both money and joy in what they do. You know what I mean? I love getting anger making things work. Anger-oriented programming. Yeah, that's reasonable. You'll get paid for having fun, essentially. Yeah. Hey, Fat Shrek, thank you very much for the 7 months on tier 1. Let's go. Let's crank some code. Let's go. Happy Monday. And the client side ML is a fairly new area of research. Lots of quantization. Also, I accidentally put this bit purchase on the corp card. Rough. Hey, thank you for the 1,000 biddies, baby. I appreciate that. Retweet Weaver. Thank you for that. Dat Forkin Boy, let's go. Look at that. Brand new prime. Love it. Love to see it. Thank you. Do you see Dropbox laid off 13% of people? Yeah, I don't really understand the reasons. ML, I don't get that. You'd have to give me more. Firesoul, thank you for this. I appreciate that. Brand newer. Okay, I do. Wait, hold on. It's me, Donut. Oh, I thought I saw it. He
Welcome
subbed.
to Costco.
ID and
I love you.
Tolar, thank you for the brand new Twitch Prime, and let's go. The
Welcome to
bearded
Costco.
Pegasus coming in
I
3
love
months. Hell yeah. Budget cuts? My guess, maybe? I don't know. Maybe they spent all their money tokenizing. They didn't realize how expensive Auto GPT was and burnt all their money and had to lay off 13% of people. Maybe. All right, I gotta go pee. I gotta be right back, and then we'll start.
Welcome to Costco. I love you. Welcome to Costco. I love you.
you. Thank you, fanatics. Appreciate that. Appreciate it. I appreciate it. All right. Anyways, TJ said on stream today that your Twitter account is an AI bot. Well, that's because I'm not that smart. So it's like, you know,
Welcome to Costco.
Hey,
I
fill in
love you.
again. Hell yeah, filling again. We're
Welcome
gonna
to
fill it in,
Costco.
baby. Thank you for
I
that
love you.
tier 1, 2 months. Fanatics, again, thank you for that Twitch Prime. Let's go, IO Cole. Thank you for the brand new tier Twitch Prime, baby. Appreciate that. Nikens, thank you. Let's go, baby. We're gonna go tier 1, 3 months. Let's go, baby. Don't read YouTube comments. No. Dragma Johnson all over the ground. All right, are you guys ready to do this? So I do have some things I want to go over. Let's start looking at a couple things. Okay, so real talk. I got something for you guys, okay? I have been called out. You may remember there's somebody that released an article that said, keep calm and just say no to coding challenges. You may remember this. Do you remember this? Does anybody out here remember this little YouTube video we did just last week? Yeah? Yeah, you guys remember this? Yeah, we were called out. Yeah, you guys remember this? Okay. Well, guess what? There's been a
Welcome
follow-up.
to Costco. I love you.
Oh, hey, I love you too. Thank you very much. I'm gonna mute alerts. I do mean it. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. So we have been called out, and so we're gonna read the call out and see if there's something there. Maybe I missed something. Hey, I'm fine saying I was wrong. Okay, I want to be real. I could have been wrong. Okay. But first, of course, a marker. We need a marker because you can't have markers on unpublished VODs. I don't know why. This is a marker. The marker starts here and goes around here, goes down to here. All right, there we go. Marked up. Keep calm! And just say no. The follow-up. That's right, the follow-up. I have been grilled by ThePrimeagen. The name is ThePrimeagen on YouTube. Look at that. It's even a follow-up. It's a follow-up to Hiring is Broken. And look at this. That's me. Look at that. That's me. I made that. I made that box art. I've received way lots of cool feedback for my article. Keep calm and just say no to coding challenges, but none was as fun as being live grilled by ThePrimeagen on his YouTube channel. Yeah. Hey, subscribe, baby. You know what I'm talking about? All right, anyways, let's keep on going. I was alerted about this video by 3 different friends, one presenting me ThePrimeagen this way. Primeagen is an engineer doing impressive stuff at Netflix. He is very active in the Rust community. Jokes on them. As you see in this video, he has a style that some peeps love and some people hate. Primeagen grills better than Bear grills? Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, I would say that this is probably true. I do get the hate messages. None worse of all the hate messages than when the Rust core community calls you a racist. That one's the worst one. But then after that, it's less bad. You know what I mean? It's just the Rust core people. Those are the ones that really I feel like are not very nice. But they don't like me, but the rest seem to be very delightful. So fair enough, but for my part, I found this video absolutely delightful. Interesting. Okay. Some people told me to try to, let's see. Okay, hold on. Some people told me to try out making videos, but I declined. I think it'd be pretty lame YouTuber. I'm just a dude who writes words about stuff. I'm pretty much the same guy. I just say words about stuff. All right. So let's see what's going to go on here. So this is the part where I think he's going to try to correct the record and try to tell me this is where you goofed up, okay? This is where you goofed up. And I do think this is important, okay? After such an artful buildup, I was hoping he would just not only agree with me. And indeed. All right, so this looks like a quote generated by the subtitles, so this might be a little bit goofy. Okay, just so you know, hey, guess what, everybody? This person just gave you the best way to get rejected from many job interviews. This is true. You will get rejected from many job interviews, and I believe he agreed with that in previous. If you just say no to an interviewing process, it's extremely hard. You know what I mean? It's just extremely hard. You can't just undo... You can't just say, hey, no coding interview, and then boom, it just works out. You know what I mean? Perhaps this person doesn't need a job that much. True. And therefore can go like this. What do you do? Oh, you're like 93% of tech companies and you have a coding challenges? Lol, sorry. I don't accept them. It leaves an hash tray in my mind. I wonder what I said there. It leaves a hash tray in my mind? I don't even know what that means. So no, thank you. Both to your job and your interview process. Yeah, I mean, when you say no to part of someone's interview process, you are saying that. That started well. Alas, that's mostly a misunderstanding. Okay, good. Here we go. We're getting into the disagreement. Let's go. Let's go. All right, so it looks like he's going to do another quote from me from YouTube, so maybe a bit broken English here. So far, without reading anything else, my current take is that it's some kind of, this is some kind of worst advice I've ever heard. Real talk. You literally have been told by companies that there's a secret handshake. It involves knowing basic data structures, how to apply them, so you can go and study for 8 hours, get good at that, walk in, do the secret handshake, and go right inside the door. Yeah, I still agree with that. Literally, the companies are telling you right now exactly what their secret handshake is. Know your data structures, know how to use them, tell me the running time, understand how for loops work. Boom, right? It's like that simple. You know those things, you can get into the door of most companies. Just facts. So I must have been wrong here. I must have misinterpreted his stuff. My answer will be boring. I agree with all of that. We have a basic misunderstanding of what a coding challenge is meant in the context of my article. I didn't mean an algorithmic interview, and the confusion is my fault. I assumed that it was obvious when I meant coding challenge. Yeah, see, when I hear coding challenge, I think algorithmic interview. Type 1 in the chat if you think algorithmic interview when you hear the term coding challenge. Hello, Ping. You are the pink guy. Pink. Okay, so, all right. Press 69 in the chat when you hear coding challenge. You don't think algorithmic interview. 69 in the chat. Interesting. What do you think? Can someone just type what you think? When you hear the term coding challenge, what do you think? I'm super curious. I don't need a poll. It's about 2/3, 1/3. Okay, 60. Take home. People think take home? Really? Capture the flag? Okay, that seems fun. Take home 4 to 8 hours. Leak code. Well, leak code would be coding challenge. People are voting for both. Yeah, I know. People always vote. Algorithms. Take home. Okay, so a lot of people think take home. Hack the mainframe. Classic. Overdose. Okay, that seems a little strange, but clearly. It often happens. What was obvious to the writer is not in fact obvious to the readers. This is like the greatest piece of advice I've ever heard in my lifetime. If there's anything we can take from any of these articles, this truly is the best thing you can take. If you can master this one skill, you're going to just go farther, so much further. If you can figure out how to deliver the minimal amount of context to get the most people on the same track, it is just like, it's a magic skill in which I have no idea how it works. What happened is that I wrote the article after seeing a friend waste way too many times and morale with a coding challenge that sort of, let's see, that sort. Okay. We are a music player app company, so we challenge you to do a simplified music app player with a lying time estimate of 4 hours. And then we'll evaluate the code quality according to unknown criteria. Interesting. I think they put in. I think he embellished this part. A lying time estimate. Okay, this is interesting. So what he's talking about is actually these large take homes. Let me think about this. So I have done 2 take homes in my life. One I was rejected for, the other one I got the job. The other one I got the job for, of course, was Netflix. Right? The one I didn't get the job for was Coinbase. I didn't pass the coding interview. They gave me a really nebulous requirement, so I just kind of made up stuff, and apparently they judge you on how well you can suss out people's imaginations. You know what I mean? I always hate that. This obviously is a lot of work. Maybe. If you do it on the web, I don't know how long it would take, but I mean, there's pretty simplified controls on the web. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's only a few things you have to know how to do. The hard part is, what I don't know is, does the audio class give you time estimates? So the hardest part would be like the slider. You know what I mean? Slider would probably be very hard. Hey, fellow technologists. Well, hey. Besides for that, I think everything else would be pretty straightforward. You know what I mean? Time to percent. Yeah, I mean, well, there's that. You got to make sure you jump. I'm not sure what controls are, but I mean, if you can do that, I mean, I don't think this is a terribly hard problem. I think I could whip out a pretty basic one in 4 hours. Maybe even sooner, maybe 2 hours. I'd probably spend an hour and a half trying to get TypeScript to work properly. And then after getting TypeScript to work properly, with a nice build system and everything, I would then probably have to code that up in probably like 20 minutes with Tailwind. You know what I mean? That would take about 20 minutes. And then I'd go and deploy it on something wild like Google App Engine just to like throw it somewhere weird. You know what I mean? And then they'll be like, what? And then I'll be like, yeah, Google App Engine, baby. And I'll toss them a wink. Super strange. How about the trying feasibility? I don't know. Anyways, let's keep on going. So what's good hiring criteria? In the comments of the previous article, I have lazily described all kinds of challenges as good and bad. Wait, what does that mean? There is actually a real definition of good hiring criteria in the literature, which I would assume summarized this way. A good hiring criteria must be relevant, stable, and realistic. And okay, there's missing comma somewhere in here. A good hiring criteria must be relevant, stable, realistic, and very clear. Okay, I do like that. I do like reproducible hiring. I think that's really good. For example, algorithmic challenge at Netflix is relevant because Netflix does a lot of coding stuff. So we do very little of it. Stable, because if you ask different people whether a candidate succeeded at an algorithm challenge, they would mostly agree. Yeah, that's fine. Realistic, because it takes time. Let's see, it takes a limited amount of time, and the same for the company and the candidate. Learning a data structure and algorithms is a doable task. Okay, I agree with all these ones. Very clear. Yeah, because it's almost like a math problem. Sort of. But yeah, I see what you're saying. A simple whiteboarding coding challenge that is not dependent on some really stupid algorithm that a PhD person got that you're expected to know in an instance, right? Like, I always hate those kind of coding challenges, right? The ones that are, find a cycle in a singly linked list. If you've never done that, and they just want you to discover that for the first time and you've never read that, it's like, there's definitely an aha moment that has to happen in your life that's really hard. Do you know what I mean? Like, it is most certainly not a very emotionally easy first time going over that problem. I hate those kind of things. I think those ones are such boring take-homes. Blah. Or not take-homes, but coding challenges, whiteboarding challenges. Let's see why a coding challenge is the ones I had in mind. Coding challenges are relevant in the sense that that the simplified music app has clear link to a real music. Yeah, okay. Coding challenges are not stable, meaning that if you present the same coding challenge to different companies or even different people inside the companies, you'll get a looks good to me, not our level of quality, trademark. Okay, so that's actually a reasonable takeaway, which is when someone reviews code versus you review pseudocode and a whiteboarding idea, these are very different. Do you know what I mean? I can buy this. this makes a lot of sense to me, at least, is that you can't perfectly gauge it, right? Because everyone has a different feel. Some people knit hard, like code reviews, you get the right person on and it's just knit after knit and they're so annoying. And then if you go the inverse, hey, Lithium, you go in the inverse, some people just don't care. And so it's totally like a, coding challenges are not realistic for someone outside the team. That's what the term means. People inside the team who know everything about building a music player who designed the challenge can criticize your work in 42 different ways. No, I don't agree with this. I don't agree with this at all. Like, if you're just doing a web music player and you use the audio interface and you put up a couple things, pause, right? You have a very simplified acceptance criteria, pause and play and make a video thing. And then how would you extend this? Like, keep in mind how to extend this to other controls. I think that that's actually a pretty reasonable coding challenge. And that even if you don't like their coding style, as long as you have good interviewers, you will go, okay, this is good, this is bad, this is why it's good, this is why it's bad. I don't know. I kind of just disagree with this in general. Coding challenges are not very clear. Now that, on the other hand, that's just like a pure mistake. Some coding challenges on whiteboards aren't very clear. Who here has had coding challenges where they expect you to suss out what you're supposed to do? Anyone's ever had one of those? Those are the worst. Do you know what I mean? Those are just the worst coding challenges. I've never done a tech interview. Oh, really? Okay. I hate those things. I like clear, concise ideas in an interview. But you got the best candidate. You don't have the best candidate. You truly don't have the best candidate. A best candidate is not chosen by how well they can take your really shitty instructions and make them clear. If that's how your job works, you're working with horrible people. Okay? I get that when you're working in a group, the goal is to get what is inside your head out there so everyone can try to build the same, stuff. But if you have a designer that's like, yeah, I need some boxes. And then you're like, okay, well, what's the boxes? Why don't you ask some questions to let me to get me to tell you? You're like, dude, fuck you. Go just give me a design. Stop this. This is stupid. Don't do that. That's the worst form of communication. I'm not going to ask you to get it out of me. Show me. Okay? That's your job. My job is to build what you think is best. And then we can have dialogue, okay? There's always ambiguity, but you work that out. There's not planned ambiguity. Ask Zoltar. Like, right, real talk. I hate those interviews. Those are just the worst. So this, I feel like, is just BS. This is a BS thing because this is not a problem of coding challenges. This is a problem of any kind of engineering. People that intentionally make things vague, I don't like. I think that if you're gauging someone on being able to solve a problem, you need to give them the most precise definition of said problem. In my humble opinion, is it humble or is it horny? I don't know what the H stands for. Companies can do better than cargo called someone else's bad idea. Wasting both your time and company's time. When you say no to something important to you, always say yes to something else. You protect your time, you protect your morale, you protect your self-respect. One thing I didn't mention because I was writing from a candidate point of view is that they also waste the time of the company. That's true. That's here not relevant for Netflix because I guess that's shitloads of talent candidates apply there. So this is not true. I do think that, again, I think me and this guy have like a fundamental impasse on what we both think. I think coding challenge, good take-homes are great. Good take-homes give a chance for a candidate to show a different side of them that's not present in a 50-minute interview, right? Because some people, they really shine when they're under pressure. So that's just how some people are. I definitely feel like I shine under pressure. When someone says, hey, go make this right now, I feel like I can do that really well. But when someone says, hey, go make this over, the next 3 days, I know I can do a great job on that. But that's a different set of skills. Whereas some people, they don't feel like they can do good in front of people, but they do really well, sitting back, making the right stuff, and that's that. And so it's like, yeah, some people prefer one way over the other. One thing I think that could be taken away from this, what I think is really good, is that companies maybe should devise an interview that can allow for many candidates, Spending the day with the team just to get to know the culture. So the question is this: what's your take on a take-home versus spending the day with the team to get both the culture, the team interactions, and all that? Well, it's fake. It's always fake. The reason why first dates, it's the reason why first dates sometimes are really, really great, and a month in, it's awful. You know what I mean? It's because who you are on a first date versus who you are is very, very different. Okay? They're just different. And so it's like, I don't think you can really get to know, like, that whole culture, get to know people, the team processes. I just don't think it's quite the same. And you do waste a lot of time. I'd much rather have someone say, hey, here's a simplified coding challenge. Go do this. Don't spend any more than 4 hours on it. That's it. I don't know. To me, that I like that better. I personally would rather have that. Personal opinion, though. Again, you indeed have the right to say no. Absolutely. I've talked about company's perspective, but I would warn you against doing that in the interview. The reason why I didn't propose you to say your company's hiring practices leaves a hash tray in my mind. Okay, I didn't say that. So no thank you to both your job and your interview process. Instead, I recommend I have to be transparent with you. I have bad experiences in the past with coding challenges, and I've decided to stop accepting them. I mean, the problem is that when you say this, you only get how the person accepts it. Okay? So when you're interviewing for a company and you say, "Sorry, I've had bad things with this. I no longer accept them." If the person takes that as your company sucks, that's what they're going to take it as, right? You only leave it up to the person's interpretation. That's that. You know what I mean? The difference here is that you're not judging them for putting them. Yeah, well, that's the problem. Again, you have no say over how they take it. The companies here, the companies that will be mad at you for stating your needs are the minority. Bullet dodged. I agree. It is bullet dodged, sort of. Again, I don't know. Again, this is the hard part: is you're expecting a company to change their interview process for you. Sorry, I just don't think that this is a. I don't think this is a viable strategy. So let's see. So I completely stand by my original thesis. You have the right to choose when to say no. Absolutely. You always have this right. Finally, I told you that you have the right to say no. I didn't advise you to say no all the time. So here's my take on this. If you get the take home and it's intentionally vague and it clearly is very, very open-ended, I would communicate back and say, hey, my time is minimal and this exercise is extremely open-ended. I don't want to proceed with this because I'm going to waste a bunch of time and I may or may not even hit the mark of what you want. To me, that is a fine thing to do. You're giving them real feedback and just saying, hey, this isn't worth it. And you're saying, really, you're telling them this interview is doo-doo. And that is okay to say. I really do think it's okay to say your interview process is doo-doo and I'm not going to do it. But you have to be willing to say no to working at a company. You know? And that only works if you are in a place of power already. You already have a job or you're financially secure. Do you know what I mean? Like that's not something that anyone can just do. It is definitely, like I understand that is a very strong position of privilege to be able to say that. If you only have 2 to 3 companies a month that interview you, your next step is to generate more leads. You can procrastinate by saying no. On the other hand, if you never use your right to say no, then that right is pretty useless. I don't know. I think me and this guy will always fundamentally disagree here. I think that your right to say no is dependent on your personal situation. PrimeageN, you can secure these nuts. Absolutely. So that's how I take it. I don't say no to take home. Let's see. I say no to take homes all the time if I already have another job lined up. And I just don't care at that point. Yeah, that's reasonable. Again, that's like super reasonable. Again, that's an entitled take, and that's okay to have that entitled take. I'm not going to do a take home. If someone says, hey, do this 10-hour take home, I'm going to say no right now. Why? Because I already have a great job. Like your job as an institution is to pull me away from my job, to make something even better, to somehow make the grass greener. So if you're going to say, hey, I want you to spend 10 hours to see if you even will pass our bar and then we'll talk if you can leave your job or not. No, thank you. Right? No, thank you. I also think you should ask for pay up front too. You should say, what is the cost? And if you really are concerned about your time and you want to make it worth it for you, say, I'll do this, but I cost $100 an hour to program these. I'll give you a bill. As long as you're okay with that, then I'll definitely do this. Right? Like put some definitions on it if you really think that there's a problem. Right? If you don't want it to be a waste of your time, get them to pay it for you. right? I don't think that that's bad either. If I don't know what Netflix would do if you went to Netflix and said, hey, I'll do your take home, but you need to pay me for my time. I don't know. They might pay you. I have no idea. But it'd be great. Now, ThePrimeagen, if you read me, I genuinely laughed at your video. And you gave me the hope to make a second episode. Hiring is broken. Oh, man, look at this. There are so many good ones. Yeah, there was some good ones. I did say that. I like the looks of these things. I think there's some good stuff. I really like what's your current salary is a red flag. I think this is actually a pretty cool take. I would actually like to read this one. Anyways, so I think me and this guy are both on the same page. We understand each other. But ultimately, at the end, I think rejecting an interview for a hardline stance is silly. Rejecting an interview based on your position is less silly. And realizing that getting your first job, so if you're like a first job person, getting your first job is one of the most important jobs to get. Do what it takes to get it. Honestly, I will, I don't see how else you're supposed to do that. Wait, nuance? We have to do nuance, yeah. Real talk. If there's a company that I really wanted to work for and they wanted me to do a take-home, even if it is vague and stuff, I would email them and say, hey, it's super vague. This is how I take it. This is what I'm going to take it as. I would even clarify why I'm programming it the way I am, right? Like, if I really wanted something, I would do what it takes to get there. You know what I mean? The name is ThePrimeagen, okay? That's fun. Seems very U.S. Culture specific. Yeah. It is definitely U.S. culture specific, maybe. But the guy, I believe, is definitely parlez-vous français. You could have Jean-Michel. I don't know. Is he? I have no idea. Anyways, oui. Okay, oui. French, oui, oui. Oui. My company has this approach. Open-ended take-home. You have a week, but please spend 4 hours tops on it. We later evaluate what is most important to you in the solution and why. The approach to solving the problem. Basically, it's just preparation for another round interview. Do you make this clear, though? Do you say, hey, this is an intentionally open-ended interview in which to complete this takes more than 4 hours. We just want to know what you think is most important to solve. So please, specifically, solve what you think is most important. I've started to sprinkle some Vim into my life. I did some remaps. Oh, nice. But I am Azerty. Yeah, I've heard Azerty is complicated. You know what I mean? This is that's a great one to do this as well. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't have a problem long as I'm racism. God, I really hate interviews that ask you to, let's see, some gotcha questions. Yeah, I do too. I don't do interviews that do gotcha questions. I've done take-homes where I worked basically a week and they didn't even check them. Exactly. Like, I hate that kind of crap. That's why you really do have to time it. So if you're a company doing hiring, you should really make sure it's time-boxed, right? It has to be really meaningful. Quit first job or land another job first. Always land another job first is my personal opinion. You have leverage, right? You have leverage when you have a job. You lose that leverage when you don't. Because here's the deal. Here, follow me on this one. Let's just say you get this second job, you really like it, and they offer you 10% less than your current salary. Well, what can you do? Well, at my job, I am getting paid this, so I think for me to make this jump and to take the risk, I would really appreciate it if you also move towards me. So please, could you make the salary Y? You can do that when you have another job. It's much harder when you don't have a job and you're just like, I'm emotionally uncomfortable taking that salary, right? Dude in the basement, you know what I'm talking about? You can't do that. I think having another job always gives you leverage, right? It always gives you leverage. Hey, thank you, Meme Master Mahil. I appreciate that. 4 months. Let's go. All right, here, let's turn on some alerts because I got some more things I want to read. You know what I mean?
Costco.
Depends on your current responsibilities. Yeah. What I'm struggling with in interviews. Oh shit! Why? Lithium? Maybe.
Welcome to Costco.
Who did that?
I love you.
Who did that?
Welcome to Costco. I love you. Welcome to Costco.
I knew it was you. I knew it was you. I knew it.
Welcome to Costco.
I knew it.
I love you.
I knew it.
Welcome to Costco.
Chief Phantom, keep kicking ass, Prime. You're an inspiration. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Yeah, you got me good. I literally just I was shook there. Flying Specs. Netflix interview loop went well. Hoping to get an offer. Wait, hold on. Whoa. Flying Specs.
Welcome to Costco.
Hold on. You interviewed at
love you.
Netflix? What team? Tell me, what team?
Welcome to Costco.
Flip Edits, thank you very
I
much
love
for the
you.
47 months. What did the foundation call you racist? I'm pretty aware of subtle racism. Wait, what? I'm pretty aware of subtle racism. I've literally never seen any of your takes and thought that's racist. Oh,
Welcome to Costco.
thank
I
you.
love you.
At first, I thought you. At first, I thought
Welcome
you were
to
just like, I'm
Costco.
pretty aware of
I
subtle
love you.
racism. I'm like, whoa.
Welcome to Costco.
Can we take a
love you.
moment here? Can we take a moment here? We're not. Come on, man. But no. Was that subtle racism? Me doing an Italiano impersonation? But I've literally never seen any of your takes and thought that's a racism.
Welcome
Yeah,
to
it's because I
Costco.
made a video about the
I
Rust
love you.
Foundation and the Rust Foundation having a pretty outrageous trademark policy after not having an outrageous trademark policy and giving everybody the old slippity slip. Someone came out and said, pointed to effectively someone making a bunch of crates with like racial slur names and pushing them up to crates.io and doing all this. And they said, hey, you probably support this behavior. And I said, I really hate these kind of takes, just assuming just the worst possible intention in whoever you're doing. And they said, yeah, but you probably approve of it based on your words. And I said, what words? And they said, the words from your video. And I said, what video? And they said, your Rust Foundation video. And I go, what words? And they're like, you know what ones. You're a racist. I know, dude. I'm not really one to get into the whole political argument, but if you're one of those like super reactionary part of the politics where all you can do is process the world through your one small political tiny
Welcome
pinhole
to
of a view,
Costco.
and
I
everything
love you.
just is colored by that one lens, and all you can think about and do is just constantly blame it on like racism or whatever. The right has the exact same problem. Dude, those are just the most annoying people. They're just the worst. It's just the worst. I just dislike those people so much that just like they just constantly are just seething and angry. You know what I mean? Like, just don't do that. Just try to, what I think is a much better approach is to ask somebody, right? Like when someone says something, I'm like, whoa, that's kind of weird. I will first ask them to clarify, because sometimes how I read things and what someone means can be very different. You know what I mean? Give a moment, give a moment, give a moment to see how someone sees the world, because you may just not understand them. Because, sometimes you're talking like, sometimes like Russia, if you've ever worked with anyone from Russia, they just have a much different culture, right? I have a very good friend that is from Russia, was born and raised in Vladivostok, Russia, moved to Kazakhstan after the fall, and then moved to America, 15 years ago. And dude, like sometimes he says things, I'm like, what does that even mean, man? And, like I could just take it and think it makes something, you know what? But really, just ask people. And then all of a sudden you go, oh yeah, that makes sense. And you're like, oh yeah, that totally makes sense. So it's just like, treat people well. Treat people how you want to be treated is what I'm trying to say. Just treat people how you want to be treated. Not like some random jackass on the internet. You know what I mean? I've had 3 tech jobs in the last 2 years. I never thought never had a coding challenge. No, I don't think it's weird, to be honest. When I have, any job, I forget about saying to no, no, yeah.
Welcome to Costco.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's
you.
fair. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Yeah, let's see. Is the worst thing after JSing. Wait, what? What? Because of Prime and others, I have finally understood that Vim is something I should learn. Started yesterday and have to admit that I understand nothing, but I feel like giving it more time. Yeah, it takes a while. Start with motions. Use your current editor and just take a little bit of time. Did something new come? No, nothing new. Hey, let's see. Side projects.
I love you.
I have no idea. Don't ask me for things you should build because I'm bad at that. Grim Shadow, thank you for the brand new Twitch Prime. I appreciate that. Any idea? Hey, Ronick, any idea what is good? Nope, no idea. The best, let's see, homework I have gotten as part of my recruitment process was the existing ray tracer that was
Welcome
quite slow.
to Costco.
Okay,
I love you.
that's kind of cool. Like that seems like a very specific position interview. Like, hey, we want to see, like, you need to understand ray tracers and you need to understand your tools. You know what I mean? To me, this makes perfect sense. I like that. I like that as a take-home. Mavaray, thank you for the brand new Twitch Prime, baby. There's some people I need to say thank you to. VH Infinity, thank you for the tier 3. Many appreciations. Lithium, thank you for making my butt cheeks pucker. Appreciate that. Darko, I'll just call you Donnie. Thank you, Donnie, for the 4 months. Appreciate that. Recafe, thank you for the brand new Twitch Prime. Wow, Vane, thank you for the tier 1. Subscribe for 1 month. Let's go. Thank you for the follow directly afterwards. Makes me feel special and good and hearty on the inside. Laren TV, Twitch Prime 5 months. Let's go. Hasoilik. Thank you for the tier 1. Subscribed 1 month, brand new. I have only one tool. You only have one tool? Vercel databases. Vercel databases. There's Vercel databases now? Vercel databases. Serverless storage solution now available in your Vercel dashboard. Oh, interesting. Okay. Very interesting. Sorry, I had to turn it down because I didn't want to do the thing. That's something. I mean, that's something I could look at some point. 60. Hey, thank you. I can only write code if I have a strobe lights going. Okay, yeah, I could see that being difficult. Vercel doing everything for you to use their platform. They're trying. Comprini, probation period ended 7 months at the startup. Let's go. Danielle, thank you for the brand new Twitch Prime. Let's go. I have to do take-homes. Hey, stop talking to me with biddies. I have been following you on YouTube for a while without realizing you are mainly on Twitch. Absolutely. I thought it was pronounced Verkel. Maybe? Any chance to react with Casey today? No, but we are going to react with something with Casey today. When I was new to my career, let's see, I was trying to work at an inference optimization lab. They gave me a take-home. I did it, wrote a partial quant algo, and came up with in C. They used my ideas. I don't know about the code, and didn't hire me. Yeah, see, that's very interesting. I've never had something like that. That's kind of interesting. Nintron, thank you. 20 months, and I have loved every second. Hey, no problem, baby. I appreciate that, Nintron, especially for that tier 2, 20 months. Let's go. Mihul, okay. Borfs, I already said thank you to you. Borfs, thank you for the almost 1 year. Hype Ticks, thank you for the 1,500 biddies. Holy cow, what is with bitches today? Dude in the basement, hell yeah, brother. I knew you'd do it. Just like every dude in the basement. Appreciate that. Pantsuki, thank you for the tier 1 8 months. Holy cow. I don't know how to keep up with this anymore.
I love you.
Did you ever get burnt out? Oh, yeah, I did.
Welcome to
Let's see. I haven't seen you do much since Rust for TS devs, other than reacting. I do programming two days a week, or 2 to 3 days a week. Thoughts on the greenest programming language, Rust 2 number 2? No. I don't really do the whole greenest programming language because here's the deal. I don't like that kind of measurement. It's kind of a stupid measurement in the sense of you gotta, because first off, the people that are producing this, they always program in JavaScript. Second off, this whole notion of what is the greenest programming language is kind of dumb because it's not really measuring real world life. It's often measuring some idealized, like, look, we can do number calculation. It's just like, yeah, is that really, like, are we all just building a calculator? Is that what's happening? So should I just use the greenest based on this? Dude, it's based on, there's so much things that need to be thought about it. You know what I mean? There's a lot that has to happen before you go on. And so I think that this whole notion is just kind of stupid. And we shouldn't... there's so much you can make. You can make JavaScript much faster than the average person writes it. Because the average person relies on immutability, right? Corporate fad speak is annoying. Yeah. Arc Noodle, thank you very much. Hey, Prom, just saw your YouTube video on your Prime Time channel where you mentioned VS Code Harpoon. Is there anything... You mentioned, wait, hold on. Chance dies. Services should be green, not languages. There you go. I like that. Let's see, anything. Let's see, is there anything you want to be present in the repository? I built the project because I had used VS Code. Oh, I don't care. I think you gave me a shout out in the README. Perfect. That's more than enough. I don't care. I used it. I used it, man. It was good. Raul, is that what you're asking me to do? No, thank you. Grim Shadow, thank you again. Mavarel, thank you. Nazca. I joined this community 9 months ago, started doing side projects with Rust and Svelte, and I'm genuinely interested in software. Thanks, man. Hey, let's go. Thank you, Impatient Ape. Keep laying it down. Yeah, we're trying. Lawsec, thank you for the brand new tier 1. Mar, dang it. That reminds me of Margit, which is just the worst boss ever. QL, thank you for the brand new Twitch Prime. Thank you for the 3 gifted ones, Maru, baby. Any ideas? No suggestions. I don't do suggestions for side projects. Heaven Stone, thank you. I have nothing to say. Perfect. Nintron, again, thank you for the tier 1. The reason why I don't do suggestions for side projects, you need to choose what you're doing. You need to choose something that just loves you, okay? That you love it. That you two just work together amazingly. You feel motivated and excited to do that. You know what I mean? But if you choose something because I like it, you might not be motivated and you might hate it. Any update on the Tokyo hoodie? There is an update. There is an update. We have the, it's not a hoodie, it's a t-shirt this time. I mean, Just write nice software. People always try to do these like frameworks for writing software. I like solid, blah, 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 blah. Most of software is just writing small bits of code that is nicely encapsulated. And if it's sufficiently complicated that you can't write it first try, then you know what you should do? You should probably just go and write a unit test for it, right? Like, it's like that simple. Write all your code to be unit testable, but don't unit test all your code. There you go. Because if you write everything unit testable but don't actually unit test it, most of your code is going to be written in such a way that is pretty easy to understand. Dependencies are going to be pretty low. You're going to separate I/O dependencies from actual whatever dependencies. It's pretty much just pretty straightforward stuff. You just do the simple things and everything's great. Do the complicated things and everything's difficult. You know what I mean? Maru Baby, thank you very much for the gifted one sub. Like, if you just do that and stop listening to all these things, most of your software is going to be very successful. Thank you, buddy. I appreciate that. I do read a lot of your messages. I just don't read them out loud. To develop my skills outside work, I made a project for a small streamer that makes an overlay linked to his chat. Oh, nice. Oh, interesting. I don't want to do that. That's why I don't want to do it. All right, so let's go to the next thing that I really, really wanted to do. I really wanted to do this one. This one is very exciting. So first, let's go like this. I'm going to make a marker. Remember, markers aren't present, apparently. Markers aren't present, apparently, Twitch, if you have unpublished VODs because you publish them to YouTube. All of a sudden, you can't make markers on your videos, which makes no sense, Twitch. Just let us have markers, Twitch. It's that simple. There you go. We got another marker. All right, so it's a Casey Moritari video, okay? Here we go. Engineering, hotspot, performance, let's see. Oh, okay, there we go. Zoomed in enough. I knew if I kept zooming in, it'd eventually be awesome. Are you guys ready to do this? I'm ready. All right, hotspot performance engineering fails. Let's do this. Right away, I just have a take just off the rip, and I'm going to see how much it aligns with the article, okay? One thing that I hate is this notion that your performance is often just like a single problem. So what you do is you build all of your stuff, and then at the end of building it, you profile it. And what happens when you profile it? You find that every function just kind of uses some time, and you don't know how to make it any faster. So your only answer is to burn the entire mother to the ground and try again. Like, that's just the worst. And so often, that's at least how I read this, is that often you find yourself in this hotspot myth where all you have to do is build it and there'll be obvious wins, and that's that. So let's see where this is. Okay, here we go. Developers often believe that software performance follows a Pareto distribution. 80% of the running time is spent in 20% of the code. Using this model, you can write most of your code without any care for performance and focus on narrow pieces of code that are performance sensitive. Right? Engineers like Casey Moritari have rightly criticized this model. You can read Moritari's excellent piece on his blog. Boom. It's definitely true that not all your code requires attention. For example, it is possible that 99% of the time your code processes correct data. The code that handles errors can be quite slow, and it would not impact most of your users. Reasonable. But hotspots predicts something more precise. You should be able to just keep all your code, identify the specific bottlenecks, optimize those bottlenecks, and get great performance all around. Moritari relies on an empirical evidence to falsify this model. Many companies embark in large rewrites of their code bases to optimize it. Absolutely. Netflix did this, and it took an incredibly long amount of time. My beautiful wife is calling me. Beautiful wife, I'm streaming. I stream 24/7. You should know this by now. Okay, let's talk about that later. Well, I will call you when I'm done. I love you though. Bye. Sorry, it's about like some flights and some summer planning. We have a wedding in Texas we need to go to, and we also want to visit other cousins. And so there's like this thing, but I don't really want to be talking, on stream about flight times and all that. You get it. It's like that time. I got to go call my uncle and be like, yo, uncle, can I come over to your place for a couple days? You know what I mean? Anyways, all right, so let's get back to this. Many companies embark on large rewrites of their code base to optimize it. This is like completely true. I forgot to turn off alerts. But this is like so true. Here's the thing that happened. I remember at Netflix, we had this low performing thing and things were just breaking and features were getting worse. And so what was our answer to it? Just simply rewrite everything and use React. Now, Was that a good thing? Was it better? I mean, I guess you could argue maybe we have better developer productivity. I'm not really sure how well we measured things or what was the ins and outs, but I mean, I think most people like the new code base better than the old one. So, overall, pretty good. Thumbs up to that. You know what I mean? But is it any better? Is life any better? Is it faster? No, it's not really faster. Is it easy to let yourself slowly fall into optimization problems? Absolutely. We see this at Netflix all the time where it just slowly grinds down and gets less like fast, and you can see memory going up, and since we're on televisions, it like falls apart. And so just doing like trying to walk backwards your changes and trying to find the memory is really, really hard. So I do see this a lot where it's often very hard. Now, some performance issues are very obvious. This hotspot thing, right? I would say that you can make a reasonable amount of changes in your software with looking at hotspots, right? You can go, okay, I can find this, and I can find this. But by doing that, there's this curve that exists where it's like you find one thing that makes it slower. Awesome, you're faster. You find the next thing that makes it slower. Awesome, you're faster. You find the next thing. It's not a big win, but you're still finding it. And then all of a sudden it's like you can't really find a win anymore. You've just written yourself into oblivion. And so I think these things are tough. And that's why I really like this Casey take on stuff. Why bother with such expenses if you could just simply identify the bottlenecks and fix those? Exactly. We have tools today called profilers that can tell you roughly where your software spends times. And if you apply such a tool to your software, you may indeed find massive bottlenecks. It may sometimes work wonders. For example, there was a video game, GTA Online, that was loading a JSON file. Simply optimizing this one bottleneck solved a massive performance issue. This was hilarious. If it did not make the game more performant, but it made the start much faster. So bottlenecks do exist, and we should hunt them down and optimize them. That's not what the hotspot model predicts. It predicts that is all you need to do to get performance. Boom. Let's see, hit a few bottlenecks and you're done. Dude, this is a mindset that's present everywhere. And I do mean this. This is a mindset that's present everywhere at every company. That you write the software, you don't care about it, and at the end, it's obvious what has gone right and what has gone wrong. You know what I mean? Real talk. See this all the time. Sadly, it does not work. Let's run through a few reasons. Overall, architecture trumps everything. Absolutely. If you first build a bus, you cannot then turn that into a sports car with a few changes. Don't challenge YouTube. YouTube will figure out this, okay? There is something YouTube will figure out. You can even make React fast, okay? It doesn't matter that it isn't fast. You can make it fast. And so don't challenge the ingenuity of the internet. You know what I mean? A few years ago, a company came to me and offered me a ton of money if I could make their database engine faster. They had money, but their software was much too slow. At first, I was excited by the project, but I started reading their code and doing benchmarks, and I realized that the entire architecture was wrong. They insisted that they knew where the hotspots were and that they just needed an expert to optimize a few components. They told me that their code was spending 80% of its time, maybe in 100 lines. That is what the profiler said, and it is true, formally speaking. If you could have made these 100 lines of code twice as fast, the code would have ran twice as fast. But these lines of code were pulling data from memory, and the software cannot beat physics. There are elementary operations that are not time compressible. You cannot move data faster than what is allowed by your hardware. Beautiful take. The key point is that if your software does not have a good overall architecture, it is not well organized for performance, you can have no choice but to rewrite it from the ground up to re-architect it. Oof. This is a hard one. This is a hard one in the sense that this does happen to people, right? There is this like weird fallacy where people will try to optimize the wrong thing. You know what I mean? There's this thing that happens where you get out your profiler and you find the places that are slow and you try to fix what is slow about them as opposed to trying to figure out a different way to do it. And I've definitely been there. We have this thing called, it was like this async something or another. And it was a part of one of our internals at Netflix. And it was taking up literally like 40% of all the memory was going to this one like 15-line piece of code. The problem is this one 15-line piece of code was used everywhere. So it was like impossible to undo what has been done without like a full new way of doing things. And so to me, that was like, it was pretty like, wow, like this is one of those moments where it's obvious. Hotspot optimization, just optimize this one spot. But The problem is that you've just used it everywhere. It's impossible. It's tough. Anyways, I don't know if they ever fix that problem. Sometimes you should repeat yourself, to be honest. Yeah, sometimes you should repeat yourself. And if you're working with JavaScript and you find yourself repeating yourself a bunch and you're having a bunch of this, like a really simple thing to do, because most of this really, I think, falls hardest on JavaScript because JavaScript is extremely hard to make fast. You know what I mean? I actually want to make a video called Why JavaScript is Hard to Optimize. I can show you some things that just will blow your mind about how hard it is. And so if you take if you do an operation, say you have to, say WebSockets, say you have a server that takes and breaks WebSockets constantly, and there's a lot of stuff that's going on with WebSockets. Maybe you have 1,000 active WebSockets at any one time, but maybe over the course of a day you do like 1 million WebSocket connections and deconnections, or 10 million, right? What happens? Well, what you should do is that WebSockets, you have these listeners, you have all this stuff, you could literally create a pool of listeners that simply never recreate or destroy functions and all that, and all of your listeners are set on a class in which you just hand it a WebSocket, and then it passes its already pre-made functions, pre-made everything into it as listening. You just invert how you do it, and you can see a massive win simply because you're not recreating and destroying these things over and over and over again, right? It's not a singleton. Singleton's not the right word. You create a reusable listener, and then you reuse your listener. I know, it's a crazy concept in the JavaScript world, but it can do amazing things. It's just one of those things. Cache pool, yeah. Cache pool, cache. A persistent pool, cache. That's called a pool, no? Yeah, pool. I did the same thing with game development. Yeah, it's a listener pool. Yeah, that's all. My girlfriend says I'm a bad listener. Yeah, that's amazing. Pooling is an amazing tool to keep in mind. It really is an amazing thing to keep in mind, but it's like an absent thing in JavaScript. You know what I mean? It's very, very different in the JavaScript world to do that. Interested in that video about JavaScripties. I want full pool of cache. I do too, baby. That'd be the best. Optimize the hotspots, multiply. Going back to the example of GTA Online, it is easy to find that the program spends 10 seconds loading a 10 megabyte JSON file. However, the next steps are going to be more difficult. You'll find that finding the bottlenecks become difficult. We are subject to the Heisenberg principle. Measuring big effects is easy. Measuring small ones become impossible because the action of measuring interacts with the software execution. But even if you can find the bottlenecks, they become more numerous with each iteration. Absolutely. Eventually, much of your code needs to be considered. Exactly. So this happens too. So for someone who's never gone through this cycle of taking the biggest slowdown, did I say big D? Did I say big D? Did I say big D? I see a bunch of people like big D, Freudian slip, the man wants it. Okay, slow down, first off. Second off, I didn't say that, okay? It's not what I meant. You know what I meant. Yeah, you did. No, you did, stupid. Anyways, if you've never done this, you will fix one problem, and it literally creates like 4 small problems. And so now you've taken your one big slow function and made a bunch of little ones that are also slow, and it becomes increasingly difficult to figure out what is going wrong. And people don't know that, like, this is real. And so then you get to this point where everything just takes time and you don't know how to improve it. So it does get really hard. There's very few times that's like literally just simple, stuff. The effort needed to optimize code grows exponentially. In other words, to multiply the performance by n, you need 2 to the n optimizations. Interesting. I don't know about this. This seems like a dubious equation to me, but okay, I will be on your team for that. The more you optimize, the more your code gets, you must consider. It is relatively easy to double the performance of unoptimized piece of code, but much harder to multiply it by 10. Okay, reasonable. If you quickly hit walls that you can't, that can be unsurmountable. Yep, the effort needed to double the performance again would be just too much. In effect, we have long tail effect. Though there are clearly easy wins, much of the work lies in the tail. Yep. All that explains why companies do full rewrites of their code for performance. The effort needed to squeeze more performance from an existing code becomes too much, and complete rewrites are cheaper. Yep. It also means that you should be acutely concerned about performance when you design your software if you want to avoid rewrites. Knuth told us about premature optimizations is the root of all evil. This is a misquote, by the way. It should be all kinds of evil. But he meant that before you worry about replacing your switch case routine with a go-tos, you should work on the algorithmic design and the code architecture. In effect, Knuth was preemptively rejecting hotspot performance engineering, and you should too. I actually like this take. You should try to build things like, I like the Casey take, which is always just try to build things well, right? And so I have a few simple things you should do. And one of them, I'm still kind of developing a video on this, and I don't really know exactly how to kind of formulate this, but I'll show it to you. I know I've showed it to you before. Is it, what is it? Is it JavaScript? I hate JavaScript memory. Is it this one? Yeah. I think it's this one. Map filters. Is it this one? Here we go. Simple test. So I think I've showed this once before. I'm still trying to formulate a YouTube video about it, but look at this. It's really, really simple, right? It just creates an array of some size and puts a bunch of numbers in it. Does a for loop. Does this. Does a reduce. Sums them all together. Does a for each, sums them all together. Just does, then it runs this function a bunch of time, right? So we have 3 different ones, right? Simple for loop, a reduce, or a for each to sum something, and that's that. And then I just do this right here. And now you're probably thinking, okay, what's going on here? So let me just select node 16 really quickly. There we go. We got node 16. And now let's go like this. Let's see. What is it? Can I just TSC this? Oh, come on. Don't be like that. I think that should be good. Let's see, find dist, ls dist. Is it in there? Let's see, where are you? JavaScript memory. All right, so node dist JavaScript memory, and let's go simple test. You'll see that we'll do a couple of these, and they get longer and longer and longer and longer. Curl me, daddy. Yeah, I name my functions the way I name my functions. You don't come in here and judge me, okay? Don't judge me. Don't judge me. And you can see, like, there's like all these things that make performance really, really hard. When you're talking about small amounts of data, you know, which one of these are slower? Well, it looks like a for loop. You know, you could take from this, a for loop is 10 times faster than a reduce or a for each. You know what I mean? But is that true, right? Is that really what's happening? How much JIT is happening here? Are we programming something that's not optimized for JIT? What the heck's happening here, right? You know, it's very hard to tell. If you're doing a small amount of operations, it looks to be the same. But as it grows, maybe it looks a little different here. Why is this one less than this one? That doesn't make any sense. They should each be larger and larger and larger, but it looks like it's like this one's smaller, this one's smaller, but this one's larger. This one must have got hit by optimization, so did this one, but then this one didn't get hit by the optimization. You know, like there's so many ways that's really hard about looking at performance when it comes to small little tiny teeny bits of JavaScript. And people do this. They look at something really small and then they extrapolate using it for their entire product, right? And so when we look at even more, so medium just means, I forget what it means, like 100 elements in here, you still see the same thing. For loops are like 10x faster. You're like, okay, this must be a rule. And then we get larger and you see it again. For loops are now like 10x faster again. And you're like, see, look at this. It's so much better. Look at that. Half of a second versus 6 seconds, right? Look at that. So much better, right? It does all this crap. But then you go like this, N18, and you change to a new version of Node. You know, your infrastructure has been upgraded, and then you try again, right? And so what happens this time? Do you think there's going to be a difference? Do you think there's going to be something new here? Maybe. Maybe not. Is a for each loop? No, for each, of course, they're not the same. Yes, no. Well, let's find out. All right, so let's go back up to here. Let's just look at the biggest one. The biggest one, the worst one possible. Again, look at this. You still see it. It's like a 10x difference. Reduce being way slower than for each, and this one being just way faster. And you're just like, wow, look at that. It's like always a 10x win. This is fantastic. And now you do it again. And 20. Yes, we're testing different versions of V8 because they all are different. You know what I mean? And so now we do this again, and we see what's the difference here. What makes them each different? You know what I mean? It's not NVM, it's N. And now when you look at this one, all of a sudden you're like this. Well, what the hell just happened here? Why is this for loop the same as this reduce with just 10x faster than for each now? What the hell is happening with JavaScript? Well, again, it's not always straightforward. forward what's happening in JavaScript. And what happens, in this version of Node can be completely different in other versions of Node. You know what I mean? It's just different. They find ways to optimize things that are different. And so the problem with V8 and trying to optimize against JavaScript in general is you think you have this idea that this one thing is faster than something else. And then you do it, and then it turns out, well, guess what? They made an improvement. It's identical. But then this one is still way slower. And then you're all confused over which one you should be using. And this could completely change with every version of Node, because they're using different versions of V8. And so what is fast on one machine may be slower on another machine. And so in general, whenever I'm writing code, this is a me personal kind of thing, is that like I don't use for each or reduce. I always just use for loops. And this includes like for const a of, some iterator. And this is just something that I tend to use. I may want to look into this more. I just tend to use the more simple loops, not because they're hard. They're not because they're harder and I feel smarter, but because in general, I usually get the best performance out of them. But then I've also learned recently that even using these can actually be worse if you short circuit the loop. Right? You can actually find yourself in worse patterns. I accidentally programmed something wrong where I did a for loop, and for whatever reason, the return statement was in the loop and not below the loop. I must have accidentally moved it up or down. I did something stupid, right? So I don't know if you know this, but you can you can move code. I must have accidentally just blipped the line up into the for loop without even realizing it. And guess what? Running a loop one time with a return statement was literally slower than running a for loop 22 times, and that just was faster. And nobody knows what the hell happened, right? Because that's the problem, is that being clever with your code doesn't mean it's going to be faster when you're running in a JIT environment. You just have no clue. And so there's this whole video I want to make about this, and this article just rings true, which is how do you write code the best? Well, in a compiled language, it's more obvious. In a non-compiled language, it becomes excessively unobvious. It's really actually hard to know what is good code. And so in general, my general takeaways is don't create memory unless if you have to. If you can just follow that rule, you will in general write fairly good JavaScript. Right? Everything else, just whatever. Do that. And then the second follow-up, of course, is don't make syscalls if you can avoid it, right? That's always an easy one. But that's true in every single language. Don't do that, right? Don't, right? So if you're going to go stat a bunch of files, don't do that, right? Unless if you really absolutely have to. But don't do that. Avoid Electron if you can. Exactly, because you create a lot of memory. You know what I mean? It's that simple. In addition to overhead of, it's moving too fast. What did you say? This reminds me of your pad left take. Their latest version of the function has logarithmic time complexity. Looks kind of cool. Yeah, dude, it's nuts. Loop unrolling is a thing. Yeah, if you have constant size loops and Rust or your whatever compiler can understand that you have these nice size loops and they can unroll them, then yeah, it totally works out. But that doesn't mean you always get that. Does does what? Use a custom JS engine from 1973? Yes. I'm going to say yes. That's why it's simpler. That's why simpler code is better. V8 can optimize. No, I'm not going to say simpler code is better. I'm not going to say simpler code is better. I will say smallest amount of characters and memory usage is usually always better. Yeah, it's kind of confusing. It's just kind of confusing, you know what I mean? It's just confusing. I don't know why. It's hard. Anyways, the name is ThePrimeagen. There you go. Size matters in JavaScript. Honestly, size matters a lot in JavaScript. And dollar. No, the size matters a lot because there's this whole reason in which V8 will optimize your engine or your code, and that's based on one of the inputs is function size, and it makes actually a big difference. A larger function it'll have to run 50 times before it considers compiling it, right? And if any of those times you're changing your polymorphic input, it may totally destroy you. So that's one of the problems with TypeScript also, is that TypeScript allows you to do unions, and unions can destroy your performance. It's cheaper to JIT and rejit small functions than larger ones. Exactly. And it uses less memory to keep track of everything. There's a lot of reasons why you should consider it, you know? In general, understandability and performance matters the most depending on what's important to me. Yeah, that's fine. Let's see. Are we on more? Let's see. PrimeaGen, on more of a meta topic. How do you deal with conflict friction at your job? Well, this is a completely different one. This is a completely different one. We can't go there yet. Thanks for your videos. You've given my ego a massive check in the past couple weeks, and now I'm using your tutorials to actually get to the point I thought I was at. Oh, hey, nice. Well, never have an ego. You know, remember that even someone that's completely inexperienced comparatively to you can teach you something you've never known before. You know what I mean? Recently found a very promising project called Sea Odin. I don't want to check it out, but it sounds neat. Sea Odin seems kind of exciting. Nice. Should I learn Rust? Learn whatever you want. Again, on whatever you want. I finally gave in and started learning Rust. Been loving it. Thank you so much. Hey, no problem. Let's see. In C programming language, I remember they used to have obfuscation competition. Yeah, you could produce the most beautiful code in the smallest amount of lines, width and height, but also make it look pretty. It was fascinating back in the day. Yeah, I know it is. Get fucked. No. Hey, any book recommendations for data structure and algorithms? Yeah, there's the classic one, books. I think I have it right here. Algorithms, right here. It's like the best book on algorithms. All right, hold on. Let's do some alerts for a second. I got to say some thank yous. I owe some thank yous.
Costco. I love you.
Hey, Zip Zinger, thank you very much. Mr. Zika, what should we name the baby? ThePrimeagen. Damien, thank you very much for that tier 1. Let's go. I appreciate that. Hey, thank you for the community sub. I missed it. Muru baby. Appreciate that. Appreciate. Just wanted to make sure. Hey, Gamey, thank you very much for that. Let's go. Got an opportunity to use to push for the use of Rust for a project that is going to handle lots of data at work. What was your experience of using Rust at Netflix? So I've done very little with it. I was doing a pretty hard project, Tokyo, with Rust. Sorry, someone gave me a Tokyo. That was pretty hard with Rust. And so I found that Rust was pretty difficult. With what I was doing, because I was building a CSV and holding onto data, and I didn't want to make copies, but then I was making copies, and I also had to pass through this like VPN library, and it was just kind of like, I think I just used it for a pretty bad use, because you know, you have like a bunch of unstructured data, you're trying to pass through things, and then restructuring it and unstructuring it, and then holding onto things for a long time. It's like I had to make it inefficient, and I didn't want to do that. But I had to. Hey, I'm just starting to doing web dev at a uni. It all seems funky to me as connections between the front end and back end. Yeah, it'll come with time. Just build stuff. Honestly, build stuff. All right, so we did a couple right there. Hotspot miss and this one. I don't feel like I'm going very quick. How to be a -10 engineer. I love this. I love the looks of this. Let's do this. You guys want to do this? How to be a -10x engineer? I think this sounds exciting. -10x engineer marker. Let's do this. We need a marker. -10x engineer. Here we go. Become a 10x engineer, baby. We're going to do this. There we go. We got that 10x engineer coming in. All right, how to be a -10x engineer. We used to always make this joke at Netflix that we had a lot of 10x engineers. All the 10x engineers just made 10x more work for everybody else. Plus 10x engineers may be mythical, but -10x engineers exist, absolutely. To become a -10x engineer, you simply needs to wait 400 engineering hours per week. Combine the following strategies. This is great. Nullify the output of 10 engineers. Change the requirements as far into development as possible to avoid blame, obfuscate requirements from the start. Okay, that's pretty good. But I would call this just call this regular work. This sounds like a scrum master. All right, create 400 hours of busy work. Ask your team to perform tasks that resemble work. Common examples include presentations, diagrams, ticket management. Create pointless rituals. This is so good. Oh, you could just got kicked in the Agile right there. No, man, Agile's really good. Or, let me just hold on one second. Hold on just 1 second. You know what I think we're missing? Let's have a retro about how our last week went. You know, let's just talk about it because I feel like there's some complicated things there. Boom, 1 hour across 5 people. You just went, you literally got over 1% of your goal in a single phrase. Think about that for a second. 400 hours of burnout turnover. Okay. Be thankless. Foist blame. Sow confusion. Get angry. Cause others to work overtime. Interesting. Okay. one time I had this thing that I still to this day am a little bit salty about. To this day, I'm still pretty salty about it. I'm still very salty about this. Okay, I'm very salty. Okay, I'm gonna be real here. I'm actually pretty dang salty, and it's like 10 years later. Okay, I was working at a company called Workiva. I won't name anybody, but one of the teams decided to make a change to their software, and the change was that they're gonna have a default options have a certain set of things on it. So therefore they're going to reduce some set of production bugs by having default options contain certain values. And here's the deal. They didn't tell anybody, and they published the software under a patch version. You're probably thinking, why was it a patch version? Well, the original input to this was in Python, of course, and when you originally instantiated this had to do with kerning of characters and all that. When you originally instantiated it, you could pass nothing in and it would instantiate. But not all the default options were filled in. So they just made their own default options, right? They just did their own thing and just threw it in there. Now, here's the deal. They didn't change any interface at all. So since they did not add to an interface, that's not minor. Since they didn't break a contract, it's not major. It's a patch version. They only changed inside the function, but they literally changed it. I forgot to turn off the alerts. Thank you, Lithium. They changed it inside the function. So new defaults came out of nowhere. They just chose defaults that they decided. And so, of course, they published it. We pulled it into production. And the next thing you know, I am off trying to fix some stupid ass bugs in production. And I go over and say, yo, what's going on here? It's like this whole thing changed. And they said, what do you mean? I'm like, it used to work in 0.8.1 and it doesn't work in 0.8.2. What happened? And they're like, oh, we changed the defaults. And then I said, why didn't you bump that like as a major change or a minor change? They're like, oh, well, the interface didn't change. And I was like, no, but it really did change. Like implicitly, like you're changing what was happening. And they're like, no, it didn't change. We're not going to do it. And so like I've had something like this happen where it's just like you sow confusion. You create people to go work overtime to go figure out some nonsense because things are breaking in production all over the place. But there's absolutely like, sorry, that's how Semver works. And you're like, no, yes, it's how Semver works, but no, it's not. No, it's not, Lithium. You're not working overtime with me. And I just, oh man, I hated it. I'm still salty to this day, and it's why I hate Semver. Like to this day, I hate Semver because of that. It's an incomplete thing. When people dogmatically follow Semver, it's the worst. I think you should just simply follow it like the heart, not the letter, and it goes way better. It would have been more obvious if the defaults were part of the contract. It wasn't, though. That's what caused this whole argument. Hold 10 engineers hostage in a technical discussion. Oh, man. This is actually why I got burnout, and this is why I quit Netflix. Let engineers discuss ideas. Encourage them to pursue elegance over pragmatism. Ensure nobody has the authority to make decisions. Okay, no. So I'd go the other way around. So I don't think he's quite doing it. I don't think he's quite doing it right here. You don't want that. What you want is you want to find the most idealistic engineer possible. And then I want you to make them architect, but you don't want them to code. And then you let them change their mind once a week about everything in the pursuit of elegance over pragmatism. I quit Netflix in 2016. I joined back in. But I'm just saying this. This was like 2016 or 2015 or 2017, somewhere a long time ago. And it was just like, I still remember that where, man, we would have these 4 engineer meetings, and every single 3 days, it was like a new thing was needed. And the amount of times I rewrote an algorithm is mind-numbing. I felt emotionally painful by the end of it. Like meetings wreck calendars. To inconspicuously waste others' times, write lengthy messages, documents, and share them as widely as possible. Welcome all opinions and aim for engagement. Oh my goodness. Okay, so this is actually, this is like hilarious because this is definitely, Netflix is a very largely document-driven culture. I see this quite a bit. It's like, it's impossible. It's impossible. It's impossible. I hate that. I hate that. Eventually everyone's life becomes documents, and it's just the worst. I try to avoid it as much as I can. Waste 10 weeks of wages on cloud costs. Ooh, this is a good one. This is a really good one. This is actually a really good one. Write slow programs. Avoid DB indices. Write single-threaded programs on 16-core machines. Opt for exotic hardware with fancy RAM and GPUs. Store the data on RAM/disk liberally. Don't compress anything. Pay no attention to data layouts. All right, so I do actually have something in here that I think is really, really good. So right here, run single-threaded programs on 16-core machines. Actually, I think this is actually a really good take. It's one of the reasons why I like grep over RG and over these other multi-threaded solutions, is that I think if you're running just grep, you're probably doing it wrong. Learn how to use parallel. You control how much searching you want to be able to do and where. And so I do a lot of things where I like writing single-threaded programs intentionally and heavily relying on standard in and standard out, and then using parallel to do all of the, all of that, like threading through multiple lines, right? Like if you really write a good set of tools, you can have parallel these things, parallel these things, parallel these things. No, see, the parallel green threads, no, not green threads. It's the program, parallel. GNU, parallel. I really do love this thing. It is fantastic, and it's like Xargs, but multi-threaded, right? It's really, really nice. And so the more you actually, the more you end up using this, I find that I actually have a really, like, if you write your tools right and stupid and just use one thread well, you can really massively parallelize your tools without the high effort of every individual tool being parallelized. Because one of the problems so one of the reasons why, like, here, I know we're on a tangent here, but check this out. I'm going to just grab this thing. All right, we're going to go like this. So you have, tool 1, right? It can be whatever you want. And you have tool 2, and let's do one more tool, right? And you have tool 3. And so typically what you're going to do is tool 1 will go off and create a bunch of threads to do its work, right? Because this is kind of like the RG, these other things, right? You get a lot of these, right? And they just create massive amounts of stuff. And as they're done, they're piping out their input into tool 2, right? Well, tool 2 also is like, you have 6 CPUs? Well, guess what? I'll use all 6 of your CPUs, or whatever it says, right? And then now you have the exact same problem going here, because each one has their own threading model. And then you have another problem, right? So each stage in your pipeline just massively spawns things, and all of a sudden you've made this kind of crazy thing, or you have to build in a threading model that takes in numbers, and then you have to manage the numbers yourself through all this, which is just super annoying. It's just like not fun. So instead, what I've been doing is getting rid of all of this, and I just go, do you like that I've chosen this turd brown color? I feel like this turd brown color just really speaks authority, right? I've been doing parallel, right? Like parallel, parallel 5, right? Parallel 5 this, and then just run parallel and pipe these into each other. And so I just have these 5 streams of running data, so that way as one thing completes, it flows into the next one, which flows into the next one. So I'm getting these completions faster, and I'm not like completing one pipeline or one set of the tool fast and then pushing everything through, right? I like it better. And so usually all my programs always start with something like cat, right? I feel like cat is just the place to start with, right? Some sort of cat, right? Meows in a bunch of session IDs, and then from my session IDs, I flow them through the system. And I really feel like if you build tools like this, it makes life a lot easier. Compose your tools. Don't build it in. You know what I mean? This is Excalidraw. Personal opinion, though. Again, very personal opinion. Some people will strongly disagree with that, but that's kind of like a tool design choice. You know what I mean? So anyways, this is great. Create useless tools. Oh, I've definitely done this. Decide that existing solutions aren't quite what you need. Write scripts that only one person understands. If the script does something important, avoid documentation. Okay, so this is a hard one because there's definitely there's definitely a problem with this one. You can't always go on paved path, But I totally get this, right? The documentation less important as much as just, depends on what you mean documentation. How to use the tool, very important. What the tool does internally and like code documentation, I've never looked at. I don't know. I like this that there's this whole problem. If you work at any sufficiently large company, there's more and more domain knowledge tools. You know what I mean? Like at some point you have to do it. And there's just no way, you know what I mean? There's just like no way you can avoid it. I don't know. So that one's really hard. This one I feel like is a hard one that every company struggles with of a certain size. Add 400 hours of compilation build time. This is great. Slow builds waste time and incurred compound interest. As build times increase, developers are more likely to distract themselves. Ensure that developers are context switching. Yes, this is beautiful. Yes, you only need it to take that long. Whatever the mean time or the median time to Twitter usage is, go like one quantile higher. If the 50 percentile, or if the 50 percentile is say like 3 seconds and that's what causes, half the people to go to like the 75th percentile. What's going to cause 3/4 of the people to become distracted? If you can hit that, you're doing good. That wastes huge time. Write pointless tests. Oh, I love this. Create dependencies on particular variables without testing the underlying functionality. Mock function calls until no original code runs. Introduce subtle randomness into your tests so that they succeed or fail without. I'd say that if you're going to do this, if you're going to do it, if you really wanted to do this, I wouldn't say write pointless tests. Let me hold on. What I would do is I'd write a series of tests that actually have a bug introduced intentionally into it in a very subtle way, such that when you fix the bug, it will cause like 25 tests to fail. And so it becomes excessively hard to figure out where you went wrong and what is broken about each one of these tests. You know what I mean? Now that, to me, would be way more insidious because then it becomes harder and harder to fix tests. Yeah. Waste 400 hours of engineering on bad architecture. Oh, this is an easy one. Oh, dude, this one is simple. Just follow React's current guidelines. Remember when they said higher order components were the way? Yeah. If you've ever seen a 10x engineer become a million X engineer, higher order components were that. Higher order components were the first ever million X engineer. Ever. It has literally destroyed the universe. Oh man, that was such a nightmare. That was like the most nightmarish thing of all time. What's the problem with HOC? Dude, HOCs create the greatest debugging nightmares of all time. Just the worst. Every time you can add in one more HOC is every one more confusing debugging way you get to go about things. It's beautiful. All right, 400 wasted hours on deployment. Okay, create as many environments as possible. Production and staging must differ wildly. This is actually really funny. It's actually really hard to have a staging that is like perfectly aligned to production. I feel like this just happens. If you have a staging, it's wildly different than production. Launch fragile code with fragile build systems. Yep, this is great. Beautiful. Lose 10 weeks of wages on unhappy customers. Okay, this is easy. Just have simple bugs crop up repetitively. Simple ones, right? Worthless documentation. Oh, I love it. Oh, I love it. I love when you enter into a file and there's like a 10-line explanation of the code, and it's like the simplest code you've ever read in your lifetime, and you're just sitting there like, why is this all here? Or you have code, or you have these files that are just like these large swaths of comments and these like single little bits of code, and you're just trying to figure out what the hell the thing does. Oh, beautiful. Trap 10 engineers in futile skunkworks projects. Okay, attract bright engineers and waste their potential. Undersell the difficulty of the oh yeah. Oversell the project's usefulness. Tell management it's almost complete until they scrape it. I've seen this happens a lot. I built the wrong tool once, and this happened to me. I did this on accident. So, to be fair, sometimes this just accidentally happens. Add dependencies that demand 400 hours of maintenance. Oh, I love it. Engineers individually learn each library. I love it. I still remember Ramda made it into Netflix codebase. Ramda. I love currying. Everybody else should love currying. Ramda. Never admit failure. Drown your team in sunk costs. Ignore 80-20 compromises that can improve your circumstances. I love it. I love it. Delay pivoting is always... This is actually such a real one right here. If you can delay pivoting, you can destroy a project. Like when you know something's wrong, hire 10 0x engineers. Oh, is this the bozo explosion that Steve Jobs used to talk about? For those that don't know, there's this old phrase that used to happen. This used to be like a big thing people used to talk about, but now I think it's like no longer politically correct to talk about, but they call it the bozo explosion, where effectively you hire top tier talent, right? You hire 4 A's, but then on accident you let 1 A minus in, right? And now that you've let 1 A minus in, well, A minuses can spot A's, but an A minus might accidentally, like indifferently see, they might accidentally see a B plus as equivalent to themselves, right? And so now you have a B plus that sneaks in. And then your B plus makes the same mistake. It might see a B as the same as an A because it doesn't really know. And then you keep on going. And eventually your organization is only filled with C's and D's. And so there's this like big thing that Steve Jobs kind of pioneered. I believe he was the one that called it the bozo explosion. But that was kind of like the big thing that it was like the mantra of companies in like 2010 era was don't hire A minuses because you'll create a bozo explosion. It was very, very funny. But really, if you do hire, because the thing is, this is a really good point though. If you do hire a couple bad engineers will let through more bad engineers. It's a really hard thing. Hiring is just super hard in general because it's really hard to tell the difference, right? I barely can tell a difference. We're all bozos at some point, exactly. Everyone's a bozo at the same point, right? You know what I mean? Like, I'm fine with bozos. The thing is, my big thing is when I'm hiring someone, I'm going to go on the inverse on this one. When I'm hiring someone, what I really do look for is someone that is just thirsty. That's it. If you can just at least hire someone that's curious and constantly learning, you're going to get the right talent eventually. And that's all you really want. When I say thirsty, I don't mean like Twitter thirsty, okay? That's a little different, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? Hire 5 -1 engineers. Don't settle for dead weight. Actively hire engineers who cause catastrophes and resist learning. This is funny. Prevent 10 -1 engineers from getting fired. Oh, beautiful. Beautiful. Vouch for bad engineering. Yep. Incur 400 hours of bug triage. Make debuggable programs. Plaster layers of abstraction over everything. Write spaghetti code. Make everything sensitive to initial conditions. Avoid peer functions. Use dependency liberally. Say it works on my machine whenever possible. You know, there's one thing I've always wanted to do is that I believe if you could make enough preprocessor macros in C to make it impossible to understand that you've just created math or like true equals some random number is greater than 0.05 or whatever it is. You can make true false in the most completely undetectable way that no sane engineer could look at, and you could write the craziest bug ever that only shows up every 1,000th try. Right? I believe it's possible. I truly believe it's possible. You could do a define. Yeah. But I don't know how. I've always wanted to try to research like how to create the most insane bug. I'm sure someone's done it. That's borderline terrorism. Exactly. It's pure evil. But I think it'd be really fun because you can always read out of dev random, right? And you could always get a random number no matter what, you could find some way to get a random number. Find some way to make it super, super small and just screw somebody, right? But it only screws them. Yeah, exactly. That's pure evil. But I think it could be really fun. Yeah, I think so too. I think it could be really, really fun to see, like, can you create a preprocessor macro that is like a series of macros that are a series of macro spread out over like 15 files, 20 files, and eventually make it zero in on define true, false, every now and then. Yeah, but this one, I mean, that one, the whole replace semicolon with a Greek question mark, that one, the problem with that one is that one's always a bug. You want something that doesn't always do it. You know, like it's a rarity. It has to, like, you have to do something so magical that you can't, it only shows up every now and then. That's where the true magic happens. You know what I mean? That's where the true magic happens. Something that's not yeah, exactly. You don't want something repeatable. Yeah, exactly. Anyways, this was a great article. These are all great things to do. Honestly, there's a lot of these things that you can just avoid. I personally say that just in the industry, at least everything I've been a part of, the biggest way to avoid a lot of these is just be more pragmatic in discussions right away. Avoid people that like to pontificate. You know what I mean? Just avoid that. If there's people that love bike shedding, don't work with them. Just go, no, I don't want to do that. Tell your boss, be like, this person bike sheds constantly. I can't do it. Like, help me avoid working with them. Just literally go against bike shedding. Bike shedding is just the worst. I hate it. I don't do it. I don't like to do it. I don't want anything to do with it. It is so annoying. The end. Okay? All right. We're going to do this. I'm going to just jump over into this really quickly because this is Molly Rocket doing deep thoughts on other languages like Rust and Go. I'm very curious what he has to say, okay? Okay? Okay, I want to know what he says, okay? So we're just going to do this one, all right? This is very important, okay? It's one more marker, and then we'll do a chat afterwards. We'll do a chat, but hold on. I just need to do one more, okay? One more. I'm very curious. I just want to know what happens here. So just hold on. Marker. This is a marker. This is marking. We're marking, okay? We're marking. We're marking the marker. Flip. The marker's here. Flip. Flip. There we go. We're marked up.
Is iron ore. Iron ore is a way better language. Also, the zinc oxide.
So by the way, for those that don't, let's see, hold on. Let me give it a little intro because I realize I'm not even giving any sort of intro here. So this is obviously Molly Rocket. We're here. I should probably move myself maybe. Hey. There you go, Casey. This is Casey, Molly Rocket, Handmade Hero. This is obviously some sort of take probably from one of his live streams that he does on Twitch, and he's just going to talk about various languages.
Yeah, Rust is probably a fine language, but it's not as good as iron ore. Iron ore is a way better language. Also, the zinc oxide language is very good. Dihydrogen.
I think I'm missing the joke here, but I feel like there's a joke that's happening, and I'm too stupid to understand. Chemistry bros, I don't get you.
Hydrogen monoxide is one of my favorite languages. It's got a ton of good stuff in it. Because Rust has the borrow checker, which people like to talk about. But zinc oxide is a way better language, and the borrow checker has a lot of limitations. Zinc oxide has the theft police feature. The theft police is like way better than the borrow checker.
Okay.
And
are those like Sagandis? I can't quite tell. But if they're like the Sagandis, I mean, that's like one of my favorite programming paradigms of all time.
And similarly, like the garbage collection features are like Go's garbage collection is terrible, whereas zinc oxide has actually recycling and composting. It has memory composting. And
Ooh.
Memory composting is like way more powerful than garbage collection, right?
Yeah.
Because one of the problems that you get in languages like Go that focus on garbage collection is that eventually you run out of raw materials, right? So you're collecting the garbage.
I know this is a joke, but I'm currently writing a program in which my services do run out of memory, so it's not funny for me, okay? So executing manual GCs is actually the solution for me right now. And so I've been emotionally bruised, and it's not funny, okay? This is not funny right now, okay? I'm not laughing. I see you guys are laughing, but I don't think it's funny. I think it's stupid.
Garbage, putting it into the landfill segment, and then eventually, either you run out of space in the landfill segment, or you end up in a situation where you just don't have any raw materials anymore at all, right?
Yeah.
So, in a language like Go, all of the memory has to come from the memory garden. The memory garden is planted at startup time, and after you harvest all of the memory in the memory garden, and your garbage collector has collected all of that used memory and thrown it away in the landfill segment, that's it, right? I mean, the program just stops. I mean, basically, not to mention all the health problems. And so one of the things about zinc oxide, which makes it far superior, or also...
I don't even know what he's saying at this point. Am I the one on drugs? I can't even tell.
I don't know if you guys have looked at StopLang. StopLang is kind of like Go, but with composting, with memory composting, right? Because they recognized the fact that you have this sort of inherent problem with garbage collection where all of the code just ends up in a landfill, and there's all of that memory just ends up in a landfill after it's used, and it's a really big problem. So stop laying, but also zinc oxide, because zinc oxide's really like way better, right?
Yeah.
Stop laying
I feel like he's avoiding talking about the Sagandis. It's like on his lips, but he's just not committing to it.
was kind of just only internal to Fugal. And they sort of have it out there, but it's not really. Whereas zinc oxide was more of like an open language, took more feedback from the academic community. We all know how good the academic community is at designing languages, very good. The fact that they never write any code doesn't, shouldn't be held against them. So anyway, zinc oxide has the memory composting. So what that allows you to do is after you use some memory from the memory garden, which obviously all the memory has to go through a memory garden at some point in order to have the memory be nitrogen fixated when it's initially created. Unless you're in Plisk, obviously Plisk code and data are interchangeable, and you can everything is a plip in that language. So that's like a different kind of language. So I would say don't take that one too seriously.
I don't even get that joke. At this point, I officially have left my ability to understand what is even being made fun of at this point. I think this is a Lisp joke, but I don't get Lisp. I'm not a cool kid. I don't know how to program Lisp. So therefore, I don't even know what I'm talking about.
It's just a little bit weird. But assuming that you're using zinc oxide or stop laying, that composting feature is really important because, then instead of all of the garbage collected memory just getting thrown away, all of that, that nutrient-rich used memory is put into a bin, right? It's put into a memory bin until it kind of has a chance to let, usually and I know this seems weird, but this is very serious security research was done on both stop laying and zinc oxide. And so a lot of those other languages that you're talking about there, a lot of those other languages, they don't appreciate the fact that there's a lot of other malicious code normally running on the machine. There's like malware, viruses. Yep. But those things are actually helpful, right? Because what those things can do is if you just give them your used memory, then what'll happen is those malwares will metabolize the used memory and turn it back into memory you can use in your actual program, right? So a typical language like stop laying or zinc oxide that has some of these more modern memory composting features, they'll take that used memory after you use.
This is as deep as it gets. I didn't realize that we could have defeated viruses this whole time by just giving them the garbage memories this whole time.
It in your actual program to do some computations and store some things in. They'll put it into the memory composting bin. And that bin is essentially, you could think of it as a memory sandbox, right? That is running all of the malware on your machine, and it's allowing that composted memory, right, to be metabolized by the malware back into usable memory. And so that is a really, again, very cutting edge, very, very, very cutting edge language feature that things like stop laying and zinc oxide have. And it's one of the reasons why those are really great languages. I can see why everyone always comes on the stream and asks me what I think of them.
I forgot what it was like to take acid, but I think I remember again. I think I fully get it now. Because obviously when you're in the zone, these things are natural. They're obvious. They just come to you. This is why the sophistication's out there. But afterwards, you forget. But here, it's like I got to live it in real life, actively. And this idea of being able to recycle memory by letting your viruses and your malwares clean your garbage memories, compost it to be usable again by the program. I mean, it's just brilliant. It's honestly just brilliant. See, this is why I could never be a security researcher. I'm just too stupid for it. I'm honestly just too stupid for it. One day, though. One day I'll get it. The name's ThePrimeagen. That was a weird video. I'm not gonna lie to you, that was a weird video. What the hell did we just watch? But I do. I appreciate all of you. I appreciate all of you. I'm sorry that I've subjected you to that. I spaced out. I forgot. Yeah, dude, I don't even know what happened. I don't even know what just happened there. I just know that I feel differently than I did before. I know I started off feeling one way, and I now feel differently.
Welcome to Costco.
Have you seen Zed? Yeah.
I love you.
He spoke at Netflix or at Vim conference. Brilly Swoosh, transformational 5 months hanging with y'all here. Looking forward to the next 5. Thank you, Brilly. Florent, the abhorrent. Thank you for the chat, Jippity. Appreciate that. J Code, let's go. 2 months, let's go. Tips on how to start learning one topic and prevent yourself from jumping to another one. I mean, that's a discipline. Ah! Aim! Jeez! Aim? Oh, I have to pee. I'll aim for engagement with you anytime. Thank you, Lithium, for the 1,000 biddies, followed by the 1,000 biddies. Lithium, stop it. Okay, that's 3,000. That's 4,000 biddies. Can someone explain to me what's happening here? Can someone explain to me what just happened here? I literally leave you guys for a moment, and I come back to thousands of biddies and subs.
I love you.
Got an opportunity. Oh, yeah, we already read that one. Yeah. Appreciate that. Lil Fine Mode, thank you. Love what you're doing. Hey, appreciate that. Aim, thank you again for the 20 gifted subs. It did scare me. I'm not going to lie to you. I got a little scared by that. You made me not want to complicate with my skills and learn. Let's see. Be complacent with my skills. Okay, yeah, I've read that completely
Welcome
wrong.
to
And learn
Costco.
more every day. I truly can't thank you
you.
enough. Now I have an interview lined up with my dream company. You have helped me enough, but tips are appreciated. Software dev position. You know, it always comes down to confidence. You know things, right?
Welcome
you
to
know
Costco.
a lot
I
of
love
things.
you.
You've learned new things along the way. You feel like you can do it. You got to take that into the interview. And if you have the time and you have the ability, go interview somewhere else for a quick
Welcome
second.
to Costco. I love you.
Go interview somewhere else for a quick second, such that you are able to kind of practice that interviewing skill. You know what I mean? Because if you can practice that interviewing skill before interviewing at your place you love the most, you're going to be able to do the best job possible. If you're not practicing that skill, if you're not taking the time and actually interviewing at places you may or may not want, you know, you're not going to be prepared when it's all on the line, when you have 60 minutes to impress somebody. You haven't done that in a long time, and it's going to feel very difficult. So just do that with no pressure. That way, when the pressure's on, it's easier. You can kind of walk on through. You know what I mean? Do you know of any good way? Oh my goodness, there's so much stuff, people. Hey, thank you. Some random dude, I appreciate that. And Mizir, thank you for the 3 months tier 1. Let's go. Appreciate
Welcome
that.
to Costco.
Marker. How'd I do? Did I do good on that one? Did I do a good one? Little effing mode. Thank you. Appreciate that. What we doing? You know what we doing, baby. Hey, Orion, thank you for the 1,000 biddies. I don't know why your sound didn't play, but appreciate that. Hopefully that makes sense what I just said there. You know what I mean? Is it possible to have Lithium is just his boss? Maybe. Have you watched any of Kevin Fang's videos? No. No, I haven't watched any of that. Put it in the Discord. Put it in the Discord. All right. I actually do want to see this. Hopefully it's not like an hour long. Okay, it's 7 minutes long. I did want to see this one. We're going to do one more Jonathan Blow one, which is web job shrinkage and layoffs. I did want to do this. I feel like this one's very exciting. You know what I mean? Do you guys want to do this one? I want to do this one. You know what I mean? Give him the D. How many hours a day would you recommend studying and practicing to get really good? That's hard. I don't know. This beat is great. It is good. Give him the D. Hey, Brad, I'm currently working as a back-end software developer. I want to switch to embedded software development. Any suggestions? Let's see. Who would be a good C creator, right? Because really, C is going to be a big thing. C and Zig, Rust. Like, your system languages are going to be big in that space. C is probably the biggest winner of all time. You know what I mean? Prime, you're the reason I'm learning Dvorak. Ooh, I always tell people don't learn Dvorak. Just get a keyboard. Do you feel like that a lot of developers do not pay enough attention or are not aware of enough security risks? No. Coding. Yeah, coding is good. Coding is great. He knows a lot of C. Read Write Grim. Yeah. RW Grim. Yeah. He knows a lot. Run the hell away from it. Give him the D. Really, you've seen more C++? I've only ever seen C. Are algorithm data structures made to make me not feel not so intelligent? No. I think being on QWERTY is perfectly fine. What is bike shedding? It's where you just like argue over the color of a bike shed. I think a bike shed should be blue. I think it should be red. And then you argue over that for like 19 hours. All right, I'm going to go pee, and then we're going to watch this, okay? Hold on. Got to go pee. Be right back. Flip! Stop promoting TikTok. Damn it, Flip. Quit promoting TikTok. Are you using Dvorak or Programmer's Dvorak? I use my own Dvorak. Programmer's Dvorak was clearly designed by someone who doesn't know how to program. And Dvorak, if you're already learning it, why not? Look at this. This is clearly a keyboard layout designed for a standard keyboard that's made for people who program. Okay? I do 100 reps stuff, but not while streaming. This is clearly made for programmers. Because you'll notice right away, parentheses, right? You'll notice right away that this makes 1,000 times more sense, right? If I'm going to type some parentheses in here, right? Like that's all you should have to do is do that. You know what I mean? Like if you're not doing that, it makes no sense. And then these squirrelies and these, right? They're symmetrical. So you need to have symmetrical stuff, right? It's crazy. It's crazy that people don't have symmetrical stuff. So, oopsies, wrong one. There you go. Stop spamming. Jeez. But any speed, yeah, practice. Honestly, go to monkey type and just do it. Is that Lisp? Yeah, that was Lisp. I hope you appreciated it. Okay, let's do this. Here we go. We're going to do this. Prime, I've been working in disease modeling. Oh, my goodness, disease modeling research for 2 years now. But I've become interested in software development. Do you think it's reasonable to learn for and apply for jobs? Yeah, why not? Of course. Absolutely. Of course it's reasonable. If you're interested, then you will be able to do it. Will they make a Netflix movie after you? No, they will not. All right, here we go. We are doing another marker. Jonathan Blow, the shrinkage of web layoffs, blah, blah, blah. This was 4 months ago. Let's find out. I know I do a lot of Jonathan Blow, but I like Jonathan Blow. Okay? I do.
There are very few academics that can program to a functional degree. Yes. Okay, guys. You know, I had been predicting for some years the collapse of the web programming industry where the number of jobs would radically shrink. I had been predicting that simply because the job people are doing is so easy that it would get economically optimized away. But it appears that the coming economic crash has accelerated that part of it, all right? But you have to think down the chain. So if the number of shitty web jobs is going to drop drastically, which it appears it is going to, you know, again, we don't know for sure, but it appears reasonable to expect that. What's next up the chain? Well, now there's this whole supply side of all these people getting so-called computer science degrees where they barely learn how to do things in JavaScript, kind of enough to maybe pass a job interview of a company that doesn't care very much who they hire because they're...
I want to put a pause right there. I think one thing that has really helped engineers kind of stay, I think right now, I mean, this is gonna sound very tongue in cheek, and maybe it is a little tongue in cheek, but one thing I think that is helping keep jobs around consistently is just the never ending flow of new libraries and the best way to do web front end. And it's just like this continuous optimization curve that we're on, where you squeeze the ball and some parts of it shoot out and other parts of it get squeezed. And then they squeeze that part, and then new parts come out shooting over there, and then they squeeze that part. And it's just like this continuous cycle of recreating things in which are old. Like, it's going to be reaching back soon. Binary serialization will be the new greatest thing, and this is why you need to use all these things, and blah, 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 blah. And it'll just be like this stupid arc we're on where we just rediscover things that were created 20 years ago, and then we say how new and great they are, and then you forget them, and then we go right back to the same thing again. And I think that's one thing that keeps software. Real talk, I think that keeps the web pretty well employed. It's that negative 10x engineering, baby.
They're just trying to bulk up, right? So that whole supply side is going to collapse as well. It's hard to find a job that is not web development. Well, soon it will be hard to find a job that is web development. So have fun with that. Yeah.
I think that's an interesting take. I don't know if I can agree with it, though. Because here's the problem. Here's my general problem with that take is that every single year, more and more of the world is being put on the internet. And so it's like, no matter what, a tool that was always an offline tool is becoming an online one. And it seems like we are more and more often kind of distancing ourselves from the computer and moving more and more towards, just these web interfaces constantly. And so I don't know. To me, I have this kind of hard in between, which is this true or is this not true? Right? It's sure there's been a lot of layoffs, but I'm not sure if I believe his take that COVID increased it. I think what COVID did is put an emphasis on how much people rely on the web, and then all of a sudden everyone starts using it and money starts flowing at a much higher rate than it's ever been. And thus we hire a lot more, engineers, and then people are able to go back outside again, and then people stop using the internet as much. And then all the stuff tanks, and then it actually is not this beautiful utopia in which, I don't know, whoever wants, but instead it's back to just plain old life again. And now you have too many people hired, and you got to get rid of some of these. You got to get rid of it. But I mean, I do agree in some sense. I do agree with this take in general that we are approaching a time in which I think there's going to be a condensing of web jobs. But how or why it's going to happen, I don't quite foresee yet. Are the ease of development, is that going to be the reason why? Is it going to be, like, what is going to be the reason why these things get easier? Is it going to be WASM? Is WASM going to come in and just completely change the universe? I have no idea. Web 3? Probably not. Good luck. Maybe Web 4, but I assume Web 4 will be skipped, kind of like IPv5. And so then maybe Web 5 will be the real savior of us all. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so just be
Oh, why does that sound loud?
ready for that. Like, I would not be going into a university that barely teaches you to program in JavaScript and wastes 4 years of your life doing that. Like, that would be a bad choice right now, because by the time you come out, things could be radically, radically different.
So I fully agree with that. If you're going, this conversation comes up constantly. Universities are stupid because you don't actually learn any real world skills. And it's like there's this dichotomy that people paint. That's like, like a boot camp teaches you how to be a programmer. Universities are a waste of money. Or the inverse. Universities will teach you how to be a great programmer. Boot camps just teach you how to be a React Andy or whatever it is, right? There's some thing. I tend to fall more on one side than the other. You know what I mean? But the reality is that they're there for very different reasons. I think boot camps are more ephemeral. They're kind of a sign of the times. These boot camps can exist because there are such demands for jobs and they just needed people qualified enough to do something. Whereas what should happen at a university is that you should be getting the foundation so that no matter what language you're programming in, no matter what environment you're programming in, you can quickly come up to speed because you understand things at a fundamental level of what's happening in a computer. That should be the point of university, not to become out of the gates immediately practical, right? And I think people kind of miss this difference between the two. But I will say that if you're going to a university and they're using JavaScript, something about that seems really wrong. Now, maybe for your first programming course, you'll learn JavaScript because it's easy. It's like the easiest one to get used to. But at the same time, to me, that's like a disservice because now you have to take all that time you had while learning and kind of learn more on top of it to just get caught up to where you should be in a university, which is all about, understanding, how does an int get represented? How does your computer process stuff? Where does things get stored? How is memory recalled? How does a function work? What is a call stack, right? Like it tries to give you the real, like what the hell's happening type thing. And so I don't know. I have this problem where, or I have this belief that I think people kind of like mash these concepts together and compare them in like really unfair ways. But I would be a bit worried if I went to a university and you didn't really learn data structures, you're not going to a computer science university, right? That's crazy. You know what I mean? They should be, C is one of the best languages to learn to understand how a computer works. And that's been true for 50 years now. And it'll probably keep on being true for another 50 years, or we'll make some radical change to computers that none of us could have predicted. Like, that's just how it is. Right? Sorry. I don't, it's about learning how a computer works versus being practical. And they're different, and it's good that they're different.
So either you have to go to a good CS school and actually learn computer science, which is kind of bullshit as well. But don't go to one of these, like, basically any school that got big in terms of teaching computers between 2010 and today, don't go there. Yeah, anything after 2010. If they didn't have a thriving computer science program before 2010, do not go there. Your guess is wages will drop, but the demand will still be there. No, dude, these companies, the biggest companies, are already laying people off.
You can't have wages go down, but demand stay high. Well, I mean, I guess only if supply goes up, right? If the supply of people that can intellectually do the work well goes up, whereas the demand remains constant, then yeah, wages could go down. But that's like I don't know. Do you think that could happen? 2010 does feel arbitrary. The school that's right next, like the school where I'm at, what's it called? It's always been a small school. It's kind of becoming bigger. But just because it doesn't have a thriving CS place does not mean it's one of the best ones in the world. Because here's the deal. World's ACM programming competition, South Dakota. Yeah, how strange is that? The place that I'm at, the 41st World's Final was held here in South Dakota. And that's because this school, they've been in the finals like 10 years running. And they have almost no students. It is not a thriving program. They're just like the teachers are just the smartest teachers in the universe. And they've built in like a very thriving, problem-solving, amazing system. And you can go to a school with virtually no huge expenses and get an amazing CS degree. And I mean, to me, that's pretty cool, right? So it's like, does it have to be thriving? No. It's more like, what does the school accomplish? You know what I mean? If you can see what does a school accomplish, that's why you should go to a school. Are they leading the edge in robotics? Do they have a really thriving robotics competition? Are they beating out other schools at robotics? Well, that's probably a great place to go for robotics. MIT has battle code, right? It's probably a good school to go to for basic problem solving under constraints. You kind of get to like pick and choose what you want. I did AC. I was 4-time regional, or I won regionals once. I've never made it to finals. Anyways, if you're asking me questions, by the way, about stuff, we're in the middle of a video. I can't be answering these, okay? We're in the middle of something. Oh my goodness, where is the video? What was I just watching? Help me, Tom! Tom Cruise, help me! I have too many tabs open! I don't want to close them because I have some Zig things I was looking at. Okay, no, we're not watching that one. There we go. We got it. First try. Flip! I know there's a way to fuzzy find. I just don't know how to do it.
And you have to think about what a layoff does, right? So they went from hiring, okay, to a lot of them did hiring freeze for a couple months and are now laying people off. When you lay people off, you've reversed the direction of the hiring. It's not just that you're not hiring anymore. It's that now there's all these surplus people who, by the way, have more years of experience than the new people coming out of college going on the job market.
That's a good
right?
point. That's a
like,
good point.
Because of this phenomenon, things can shift really fast in terms of the perceived availability of jobs, because you're going from, you know, there's 11,000 people who want jobs every year and like maybe 15,000 jobs every year to there's 12,000 people who want jobs every year because it's a growing field. And there's negative 50,000 jobs a year. It's like just a radically different.
Not great numbers, but I understand what he's trying to say. I do think that right now is one of the toughest times to be someone that's new. You know what I mean? Someone that's new into programming, you honestly have one of the hardest times, I think, ever to get started into programming, because you do have a bunch of big company layoffs. So there's a bunch more experienced people just in the field. There's less open jobs just in general right now. And now you have to go around and you have to try to find a job competing against these people that have already been, you know, experienced. Like, honestly, if I was a company and I was hiring somebody, who would I hire? The person with no experience, the person with experience, you know? I'm not saying like that's a good trade-off, but if I was going to make a bet, I would bet on someone with past experience. And that sucks, right? That does suck. California jobs are different there. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I don't know how regional this is. It's hard for me to understand the job market. I haven't been in the job market in quite some time. You know, I've been at Netflix now I work at Netflix, by the way, for so long that it's like hard for me to know what it's like. You know what I mean? They're not firing their best people though. Yeah, I wonder how much of that is true, because I know Google, like larger companies will do like section layoffs. Like everyone in this area, lay this person off. And so, by the way, I do work at Netflix. You know, lay this person off. So that could contain some really great people and some bad people. What, you work at Netflix?
I don't know. Those numbers they don't make sense.
Yeah, they don't make sense, but it's okay.
Scale,
it was okay. We get you, John Blow.
I'm just going for proportionality. These companies hired a huge amount of people during the pandemic. Yes, but here's the thing. Okay, this is what you have to be prepared for. Yes, they overhired during the pandemic. And then they realized, oh, we overhired. We assumed, like, this is the party line. Okay, what you have to realize
I want to hear
that the CEO...
I really do want to hear his prognosis here, because I think this is really important. Why does he think that they're laying people off? Because I think this will either give credence or topple his argument.
CEOs and the COOs and the PR people at all these companies, their job is to convince you that the company is not doing badly and is not effed permanently, right? That's one of their primary jobs. Now, they've said, oh, we overhired during the pandemic, so we have to reverse that a little bit. They haven't even reversed that. A lot of these companies are up 30% in staff, 35% since the pandemic, and they've laid off 10%. Okay? So they haven't even reversed that yet. But in general, they're undercorrecting. This is a well understood phenomenon. Unfortunately, I don't have references for you, but we could go look them up later. It's well understood that in general, companies undercorrect when it comes to having to shrink. So they're undercorrecting even for pandemic, but now we have also economic shrinkage coming. And so you have to correct for overhiring during the pandemic and the economic shrinkage. And that correction would look like 50% for a lot of these companies. But
ooh, that's a hard one. I don't know if I agree with this take. I don't know if I agree with it, because, you know, generally what happened is that a lot of these companies, you know, let's just put a magic line on the board. They're right here. Then COVID happened and we really went heavy, you know, internet. So they went up to here. But then there was a pullback post-COVID that went down to here. It's not where they were. It's above where they were, but it's not where they, you know, where they was. You know what I mean? Like, there is definitely a change in that. And so they can still keep a higher amount of staff because they have technically grown. And so they can, you know, expand in whatever way they want to. Even Netflix, you know, we got pulled forward a couple years. It doesn't mean we're necessarily, we're not experiencing the same growth as we were during the COVID times, right? That you can just look in our quarterly reports. We're clearly not having the exact same experience that we were having because the world has moved on from being in one stage of life to a new stage of life. But we're definitely pulled forward. We definitely have more people signed up for Netflix than we did before the pandemic by quite a bit. And so it's like, all right, so what's the, depending on how much you hired, did you hire to that level or that level of growth, or did you hire a little bit less? We didn't hire nearly as aggressively. Therefore, I think Netflix was just really smooth. I think our only reported layoffs were like 100 people, and that was all around, animation and reducing our budget on animation or something like that, right? And so it was much, much different. And so I don't know. I don't know if I buy this thesis. I think in general he is right that once the web becomes more economized, then the jobs are going to massively fall down because it really isn't that complicated in comparison to something like making a game. And yet game engineers are significantly less than web engineers. So I wonder when that field's going to meet. Do you know what I mean? Like, how does there exist a field in which there's vastly more complicated programming with less people doing it, getting paid less, and still doing it, versus web dev, which is, by all available evidence, you can argue it's just not as complicated. And yet, they get paid more, and there's more of them, right? Like, there has to be, there is some reckoning that has to happen. And I don't know what that thing is. Is it going to happen in my lifetime? Is it going to happen this year? Is it happening right now? I don't know. Right? I have no idea. You're covering Jonathan Blow. I am covering Jonathan Blow. Beep. I paused him at a very flattering time. But I don't know, right? Like it's very interesting. Right? It's very interesting. I'm sorry, it's an annoying question, but does university choice matter at all? I don't think it does. We don't need to see Jonathan. It's human nature. Yeah, I don't know. I honestly, I don't know why this disparity exists. I have no idea. Why is one of them less than the other? You would think it'd be the inverse. You know what I mean? You would actually think that the person whom works and does the harder thing would get paid more than the person doing less hard things. But it's not quite that. I don't understand it. Obviously games, they don't make as much, so I think that's a big thing. User base, yeah. There's definitely like a, but I would assume that Epic engineers, right, because they have the multi-billion-dollar Fortnite, baby, like they're not, or Unreal, they're probably not getting paid statistically more, I would assume, than other gaming counterparts, or if they are, it's not like a web dev insanity, is my guess. I don't know. Yeah, I guess that's true. That's true. Websites are more applicable to business. I don't know. It's something I've been thinking about in my head. Why does this disparity exist, and what causes it, and is it going to be corrected? I don't know. It could be corrected. Yeah, I hear Riot engineers get paid a lot. I hear Riot engineers are like top of the pay market. Game industry is different. It is different. I think, but this is a good perspective to have. Really, this is a great perspective to have, especially as someone who lives only in the web world, is that other programming worlds aren't like the web world. And we should recognize that, right? There's a lot to glean from this, and a lot of perspective that just doesn't exist in the web world, right? I think
you can't lay 50% off because of the optics. Elon is doing it because he actually, and then he has...
That's what happens when you have $1 billion. I believe they refer to that as the money, and so it's different for him.
This third thing where it's like Twitter was too big for what it was doing anyway, even before the pandemic, right? But for most of these companies, a correct layoff would be 50%. Like, that is the hard thing to swallow, because it's 33% for the pandemic and then an added amount for economic decline. So when you see these layoff numbers of like 10% and they seem large, there's a lot more coming down the pipe, unless something like we could have some crazy economic boom for an unforeseen reason in the next year. But if that doesn't happen, There's going to be a lot more shrinkage. So this is the thing: is the magnitude of the layoffs at Twitter is being, everyone's freaking out about it, and it's being, forecast as some kind of disastrous management or a mistake.
By the way, being able to look at this, right, because this was 4 months ago, it is pretty funny. If you guys remember all those days when Twitter was, this is the last day, like Twitter's crashing on Saturday, Twitter's gone on Saturday. Like, how many times did that happen? Regardless of your thoughts of Elon, blah, 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 blah. Dude, the amount of apocalyptic messaging that was going on about Twitter, holy cow. Was that not one of the most annoying time periods of everyone's timeline? That was just so annoying. I get that people don't like Elon. I don't really care. I'm in the ambivalent camp. But man, it was like hysteria. Every week it was just like, oh, it's going down. It's going to die forever. And you're just like, dang, is it going to really die forever? I actually thought when it first happened, I was like, really, is this going to die? Services are going to shut off on a Saturday? Really? Wow, I cannot believe this guy is just going to spend $42 billion and then it's going to all get shut off. Wow, I can't even believe it. And then it didn't happen. I'm like, oh yeah, this is full of shit. That's why. You know why? Because it's full of shit. It's always full of shit. It's just pure nonsense. This is what the internet does. It just makes up nonsense, and then everybody just blows up. And a box slide, hacker news, hacker man. And it's just bullshit. That's all it is. And then everyone's like, oh my goodness. I think Twitter is a very interesting case study, because I would say that Twitter has both added more features than I've ever realized, but is definitely less stable than it ever has been. I'd put those two things in non-contradiction of each other. But they're doing it with like what? What percentage of staff was laid off? I can't even remember. But either way, that happened, right? Twitter is not barely working. It is most certainly working quite well. I hate that word. People are like, it's barely working. It's like barely working. That's why when I refresh it, it loads, it comes up, it shows up, shows all my messages, and my bajillion things all show up. That's working. I don't know what's not working. This looks like it's working. This looks like it's working. I can send this message, and look at that. It shows up. It says sending tweet. I can undo it. It looks just the same. It just looks like it works, right? I'm just not going to lie to you. This looks like it works. But what I'm saying is that it's one of these things that I haven't noticed a unusable amount of decline in functionality, but I have seen a large increase in features. There's a couple times where it's down. Like, obviously, the most it's ever been down has most certainly happened in the last 4 months. Most certainly. Absolutely, 100%. I think we all agree with that. It'd be crazy if you didn't. But it's not crazy. It's not like it's down all the time. It's not like it's making me want to quit using it. You know what I mean? The moment, if it was down regularly, then I would just quit using it. But it's not down regularly. I don't know. Don't you remember the blue whale? I don't remember. Primeagen, show us your Elon tattoo. Yeah. No, there's no Elon tattoo. I don't care. That's that. Hashtag don't care. Sorry, Elon.
Or, oh my God, the company's going to collapse. And it's like, no, actually, the company's going to collapse if you don't lay off 50% because the economics don't support it anymore. For all these companies, well, not all of them, but many of them, right? And the fact that you don't...
I bet you Twitter right now, the economics is making the most sense it's probably ever worked, ever for Twitter, right? Because it has subscriptions. Those are new. $8 democratized, blue check mark, right? That's going to just cause a gigantic increase in revenue. I've never seen as many ads as I'm seeing right now. That's going to massively increase it. I just doubt that they're somehow in financial trouble. I think that they're probably doing much better than we think. That's my guess, is it's probably doing a lot better than they've been doing in a long time. That's my guess. I don't know if it's true. I don't know if it's false. That's that. They're break even. If they're break even, that's crazy. I don't know. Let's see. He's adding new payment options. I know. So I have no idea, right? I have no idea what is going on, but it seems like if they fired a bunch of staff, they got rid of 80% staff or whatever the number was, their operational budget is massively down. If they are actually making things more performant, I bet you their server stuff is way down. If they're actually making, if they're going to be making revenue off of subscriptions, that's, the cost for those subscriptions is like way better than Twitch. Twitch has to deliver nonstop, commercial good bit rate streams for everybody, whether you're having whether you have no people viewing you or, gosh, whatever it is, however much. Oh my goodness, I can't even use my own keyboard. Or you have 2,000 people viewing you, right? Like, this is a much more complicated problem. They have to spend a lot more. Twitch spends massively more. My one stream probably will cost more than my entire year's usage on Twitter. And so it's like, if they can cut into that revenue too, they'll be doing great. I don't know how we got to this point in the conversation, but let's keep on going. Jay Blow.
Most CEOs
blow me,
doing
baby.
Layoffs of that magnitude means that these companies are being incorrectly run, and they're going to suffer for it. And it's not fun to hear that, right? Because that means you have all these people without jobs. But isn't it kind of weird that we shut down the economy for 2 years and somehow everybody still has jobs? Like, how did that happen? It's because a lot of the jobs are fake and not supported by the economics. And that's painful in the short term, but the sooner you fix it, the better off everybody is. You want people in jobs that are actually being productive. Because unproductive jobs, you can only extend and pretend for so long before things unravel.
Yeah, I mean, again, I get what he's trying to say. But like last quarter for Amazon, they made $1.5 billion net profit after everything. So they're still economically working out. And they're year over year up on almost everything that they've been doing. So are they working out? Yes. Netflix last quarter also made $1.5 billion. So even if there were some level of fake jobs, they're still making money. You know what I mean? Like, they're still making money. And so that's what it always comes down to, is what is the net revenue? Like, if you look at jobs and their net revenue was down and it's gone way, way down, then you can totally tell that there's, they have a spending problem. If what they're making is less than what they're spending, there's a spending problem. But if that's not, readily apparent, I don't know if it's going to happen. And now, is this really the web job shrinkage? Is this really going to happen? I don't know. I can't say. I don't know. Yeah, there was a lot of people that lost jobs. And I don't want to, by the way, I think this is a good moment to take. This is a really good moment to take. All of you guys right here that are in this chat, if you guys are all engineers and you're making some good money, I really want you to tip your waiters well. Just do it. I do it. It's good for you. You know what I mean? Just be good, okay? Be good to service industry people, because you know what? That job sucks. And if anyone hasn't done 10 years of service industry, it's really hard to appreciate how good you have it versus how bad somebody else has it. You know what I mean? It's really, really tough. Yeah, I know. I get it that Europe does not. You also don't get nearly the same pay. Well, we don't tip in Europe. That's fine. You don't have to tip. Then don't tip. You're not a part of this conversation. You know what I mean? You can just not tip. It's okay. If you don't do it, don't worry about it. What's your take? We're not gonna get into the politics and all that nonsense. Anyways, your tip also in EU. You tip also in EU. Yeah, I'm sure there's some places that do that. You tip. Either way, I don't like. There's a lot of people that will judge tipping. There'll be a lot of people that judge, like, why would I ever tip for coffee? And I agree with you. Tipping for coffee seems so stupid. I do it anyways, not because I'm like, oh, they did a great job. No, they didn't do a great job. They didn't do a great job. They literally handed me coffee. That's not just some amazing job that they did. I did it because I get to work at Netflix, and it's fantastic. And they're not working at a place that's going to be hugely amazing. And so you should just treat people right. You should treat people the way you wish to be treated. Okay? I think that's the best way to do it. Treat people the way you wish to be treated, and that's that. The name's ThePrimeagen. Do it. It's much better. Yeah, it's a form of pity. It's a form. It's not empathy. It's sympathy. There's a difference. Be kind to the people if you ever find yourself in that position, you should hope that people are kind to you. Real talk. And it's not because I think sympathy is a great thing. We all tip, but let's see. But for me, y'all in America tip too much. Yeah. I get that. Can't spell sympathy without sump. Wait, what? Without simp? Yeah, you have to tip your Twitch streamer now. Tip me! Tip me!
Welcome
Thank
to
you.
Costco.
Thank you for
I
tipping
love you.
me. Tip me, babies. Give me the tips. All
Welcome
you
to
boys, give me the
Costco.
tip.
I love you.
One should not say that out loud. One should not say that out loud. Here's a tip. Just run an ad. Just run some ads on them. No, let's not. Dan Fromsum. Thank you very much for the tier 1 loot bath. Thank you for the tier 1 the
Welcome
VAT.
to Costco. I love you.
$5 a month. Who
Welcome
said
to
that?
Costco.
I really want to. Let's see. No, we're not going to do it. We're not doing that. Tip waiters and advocate for their. I don't do any of that stuff. No, stop it. I will just simply tip. I am of the personal opinion that distributed change among people cause great changes. Government changes tend to cause, well, look at how many great government changes we've had. They're all just so fantastic, everything that we do.
I love you.
All right, KD, kill a dick lines of code. Thank you very much for that. I appreciate that. Let's see, Gordon, thank you very much for that brand new Twitch Prime. Won't be famous. Yeah, I know. Shitty programmer. Feel it. Feels it. Shitty programmer. Feels it. Chico, thank you very much. MF Dank Memes. Thank you for that motherfucker dank meme. Appreciate that. Panda Coder, thank you for the 100 bits. Galax, thank you. Just the tip. Appreciate it. This minute, let's go. Caustic. Caustic. That reminds me of Apex, and I don't want Caustic. Thank you for the brand new Twitch Prime and Yusuf. Thank you. Again, community sub. Thank you for the 100 biddies. The tips are wild. $5 a month. I just say that in my head from time to time. I feel like I do a good impersonation. How is my impersonation? Before this plays, this is what it sounds like in my head. $5 a month. That's what it sounds like in my head.
$5 a month.
$5 a month. Like, I feel like I'm almost doing it. I feel like I was nailing it. I feel like I nailed that. 7 out of 10. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. You gotta like kind of. He sounds like Michael Scott. Okay.
Welcome to Costco. I love
5
you.
out of 7. Get the hell out of here. That was way better than 5 out of 7. 2 out of 1. 5. What? 5 out of 7. Shut up. Just shut up. This is way better than that. Okay. Thank you again for that. Okay. I don't want you to judge these things, okay? Stop judging. I have the sound down, and you just went with that tip. That was the greatest tip I've received in a long time. That might be the biggest tip someone has ever put in me on stream. Ever. My goodness, thank you, AIM, for that 50 gifted subs. I just turned up the volume. I'm sorry that I had you on that one. Thank you for the 50 gifted subs. Holy cow. Hoot Zelo, thank you for the Twitch Prime. Undef Null, thank you for that tier 1. Tokyo! Hey, by the way, the new merch is about to drop. You'll notice this upcoming week, we're about to hit a new merch drop. I want you to know that. Is your well working? My well is officially working and the bill's officially in. Ditch your favorite programming paradigm.
Welcome to Costco.
Really?
I love you.
Ditch your favorite programming paradigm. Who did this? The box art makes me think of Code Aesthetics. Code Persist. Should we do this? You want to do this? You want to do this one? Hey, Panda Coder, thank you. 5 out of 7 is more than 7 out of 10. Yeah? Okay. That's reasonable. 6 minutes? Yes? No? Watched it? You've watched them before? I think I have watched them before. By the way, I just can't wait to play this music. Don't you just feel it? But we can't play it, okay? And now's not the time. Now's not the time. Nope, don't play it. Stop playing it. Stop playing it. Just do it good. That's my favorite one. Knock out the time. All right, let's do one more. Let's do one more. Let's do one more, okay? Let's do one more. All right, everyone's telling me this is going to just be a functional salesmanship.
Programming paradigms are essential to computer science as they outline the way code is.
Let's find out. Are we going to be doing it? Is this functionings, or is this going to be something else completely? I don't even know. All right, let's find out. Let's move myself back over here now that we don't need to be all the way over, but let's do this.
Styled and written. When I was younger, I thought the object-oriented programming was the only right way to code. And
I thought the literal exact same thing. When I was younger, back in my childlike years, I too thought object-oriented was the only way to do it. And therefore, when I built my first video game, I used 7 layers of inheritance And eventually I cried, and cried, for I could not figure out where and why my bugs were flowing through the system, and I had no idea how or why it happened. So I cried and I cried and I cried.
Java was the best language. So obviously, I wasn't the brightest back then. I realized constricting myself to one paradigm wasn't a smart decision, and expanding my options could greatly increase my coding quality. I'm going to mainly focus on the object-oriented and functional
Do you like that
paradigms.
screen tear, by the way? How good was that screen tear, huh? I should switch to Wayland. I keep saying that every week. I still don't. OOP, most used.
As OOP is arguably the most used paradigm, and functional programming is also growing rapidly in popularity. While coding, there's multiple ways to solve a problem, making the debate of which paradigm is the best useless. The idea behind object-oriented programming is to rely on the concepts of classes and objects, where a class could be considered a blueprint to instantiate objects.
Didn't code aesthetics do something very similar to this? Didn't code aesthetics do like this very, 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 very similar thing, even using images? Do I remember that correctly? I can't remember. He was doing it for the difference between inheritance versus composition.
Classes usually represent a broad category such as cars, animals, or any other encompassing field. For example, if we
I actually quit doing a lot of that for the most part. I try not to think of classes like that.
have a class foo with attributes supply and type, we can now create as many objects of food as we like. To add some more functionality, the class food can have methods. Most classes are even more powerful than they look like, as they can be extended from to make more subclasses. Here, KitKat can extend from food.
I already hate everything I see.
With KitKat, everything is the same except the consume function is overridden. While this specific example is extremely simple, an object-oriented design allows for flexible code reuse. Object-oriented programming can be made more robust with features like abstract classes, interfaces, virtual functions, multiple inheritance,
You're not allowed to use the term robust in multiple inheritance, okay? Yeah. Yeah, okay? You need to know this. Or I'm going to send you straight to Karen's office. Ridiculous. Don't ever say multiple inheritance and robust in my startup again, okay? It's not a marker. That was me being serious, okay, chat? You know, I'm serious about two things in the world, okay? Serious number one, you don't joke about multiple inheritance. And number two, $5 a month! That's what I'm serious about, okay?
and more, but that's beyond the scope of this video. Something you'll probably hear a lot related to object-oriented programming are its 4 pillars. These are inheritance, polymorphism, encapsulation, and abstraction.
Yes, I don't like to use that. I think we all use polymorphism in some way. I think encapsulation is just a great idea. That's just pretty much programming. In fact, it's really hard not to encapsulate data. I mean, you really have to be trying to not encapsulate data. You know what I mean?
Welcome to Costco.
I
love
forgot
you.
to turn off alerts. Welcome to Costco. Forgot to turn off alerts. Alerts are off. Thank you. An abstraction. People love this. You know, this term for me just always just means everything. Abstraction. You're like, wasn't everything kind of an abstraction if you really think about it? We're always abstracting. Like JavaScript is an abstraction over C++. You know what I mean? You like that? You like that? JavaScript's just C++ syntax sugar, baby. Okay? Syntax sugar. That's all it is. It's just syntax sugar. That's all it is. No. No, it's not. Actually, it is. Just syntax sugar. That's all it is. That's all it is, baby.
Inheritance is what I mentioned earlier about KitKat
That's why I think they're both shitty.
extending food. KitKats are still a type of food, so they should be able to take all the properties of food. Encapsulation allows classes to manage how they hide data, allowing access through either the class itself or a function. For example, if we have a class for a person, we wouldn't want their address or SSN to be public. Otherwise, any other class would be able to access and potentially change those properties. On the flip side, something like your name could be public, as that data isn't as sensitive. The best practice is to declare any variable
Chat, what's the name? What's the name, chat? The name. That's right. Thank you. Thank you for. If you don't say Java, don't say the Java gen. Okay, that's inappropriate. It's inappropriate. Okay, the name is JS's syntax sugar for C++. A gen.
As private, so nothing outside the class can affect it, unless it needs to be public. Abstraction is similar to encapsulation.
Okay, hey. If you're gonna make all these fancy things, you better put a space right here, okay? Okay? Leave room for the Holy Spirit is what we said during high school dances, okay? At least that's what the teacher said, okay? Okay, that's very important. Put a space right here. I expect it. It's just you're offending me.
However, it's less about data safety, but rather for ease.
Oh, now you put a space. Okay. Did you put 7 space indenting? Or 6? I'm not even sure what's going on here, okay? We gotta work on we gotta work on it, okay? I know you're using that motion canvas thing. I know you are, okay? But careful now.
Use. If we have a string and we want to make it lowercase, we can just call the toLowercase function, as we don't need to know exactly how the string will be made into lowercase. Polymorphism is also similar to inheritance.
I'm not gonna lie to you. Okay, if you're gonna do sweet stuff, you gotta put the right indents, right? Like these indents, they're just emotionally hurting me. Like this indent, look at this. What have you done here? What have you done? This thing's indented like 12 characters, okay? I don't even know how to do something. You have some form of Fibonacci. It's like 1, 1, 2. Okay, you can even see it. The break has the same thing. 1, 1, 2. You have Fibonacci indenting, and it's emotionally painful, okay? And what happened to this parenthesis, okay? This parenthesis should have been back here, but instead it's up here. Makes everything confusing.
Polymorphism is also similar to inheritance, except it's about modifying behavior rather than taking properties. In my earlier example, polymorphism...
This is the exact reason why I hate polymorphism. Or not polymorphism. Why I hate inheritance, okay? Because you're inheriting over behavior, but you're relying on inherited properties. This is really where I think it all falls apart, is this right here, is properties. That's why traits in Rust are really great. This is why interfaces tend to be better, why people tend to be okay with interfaces, especially like in something like Golang. Golang kind of has the same feel to it, where you're able not to rely on the properties, right? You're like, that's not just how it works, okay? You have you, yourself, you are the object, and then that's what you do. I know, we're not even going to talk about that. We're not even going to talk about it, okay? But either way, I just hate that. It just drives me nuts. I think that's why I hate inheritance.
Is used when we override the consume function.
Stop
Object-oriented programming is not perfect, and it has its issues. First of all, the code made with object-oriented patterns will generally be longer than other styles. There's just more boilerplate code to write, and if the project doesn't need all the boilerplate, there'll be a lot of extra unnecessary code.
That's not true. You can't give Java, you can't just put Java's public static void main string args as an example for OOP's lengthiness. Okay, that's Java's lengthiness.
That's where functional programming can come in. I apologize in advance if I get something wrong with functional programming, as I don't have a great deal of experience in it. That being said, reading and writing well-written functional programs feel great, as they can be extremely elegant.
Oh, now we're calling Python functional. Okay, then. Okay, I see what kind of world we're living in. I see what's happening now.
The main idea with functional programming is that we use functions as our primary building block, as opposed to classes and objects. The functions are usually pure functions, avoiding shared state, mutable data, and side effects. For example, if we have a function that adds 2 variables and changes a global variable to the sum, this would not be a functional programming concept, as we introduced a side effect. The side effect was caused by altering a piece of data beyond our scope, which is the function.
Isn't that always the joke? It's the reason why nothing's ever actually written in functional programming, because you can't do side effects.
Side effects are something developers avoid, as they can cause bugs that are completely unexpected. We can make the function pure by not altering the global variable. Another concept of functional programming is that data is immutable, because mutable data can also cause side effects. Instead of having shared state and mutable data, we can alter data by using other functions such as map.
This is why JavaScript is sometimes so slow. Immutable data, bro. Immutable data, bro. And then you get a bunch of copies. Just a bunch of spread operators spreading their filth all over the program.
All map does is run a function on every element of an iterable. In this case, we just append a fire emoji to the end of each string. Map is also an example of a higher order function, as it's a function that takes another function as a parameter. Functional programming has many benefits that object-oriented programming doesn't have. You can get these beautiful or ugly one-liners depending on how you like your code to look.
Please, no mentioning of Ramda, please.
It's also far easier to track down bugs, as a bug should only be contained within one function and won't have you jumping through 10 different files and nested objects. Although
I've never found that to be true. Right? I've never found that to be true. Anytime you're finding a bug, it results in me jumping to a bunch of different places, whether it's oop, fp, or fpoop, right? No matter whatever the style is that you've created, it's like it's always a pain in the ass to figure out where things go wrong, right? Like that's what makes a really good engineer or one of the things that makes a really good engineer is your ability to go and figure out what the hell's going on. You know what I mean?
functional programming seems like a developer's dream with smaller projects, it can be considerably harder to scale up in certain cases. This is because modeling a problem with functional programming is not as easy as it is in object-oriented programming. For example, take a car that needs maintenance on a certain date. In this case, we can just have a car object with an attribute for when it needs maintenance. In a functional approach, as there is no state, we would have to use a function to find out if the car needs maintenance. I'm not sure if that's the best way to do it, but if there's other methods, feel free to comment them down below, as I would love to know about them.
I mean, these kind of concepts, there's like, I know Haskell has a similar idea, but there's trait objects in Rust where you can attach methods to structs, right? So you don't necessarily need floating things. I think this is more of like a consequence of probably Python or JavaScript, where instead of having this beautiful like ability to press dot and see all the methods available for that specific type, instead you have the opposite, which is you have to go to a file and discover all the methods for a type if all the methods for a type are contained within one file. And so I find that, it totally depends on the language, the ease of use of functional. And it's not always the same, right? It doesn't always feel the same. And it can be quite tricksy. Yes, obviously this is not this, you know what I mean?
As you can see, both these paradigms, just like every other paradigm,
I know,
have their benefits.
Don't look at the statement. Don't look at the statement.
But also a wide variety of issues. I read something on Stack Overflow along the lines of,
first mistake, don't read things on Stack Overflow, okay? Because you can't even figure out how to measure your dick on Stack Overflow.
Object orientation can improve with functional programming, and I agree.
No more orientation. We're not orientating things.
Not everything has to be the same, however, the functions can improve. Methods can take the principles behind functional programming functions. They don't need to have zero side effects, however, minimizing them would be extremely helpful for debugging. The longer object-oriented code can also be split up into sub-methods to do smaller tasks. And since object orientation allows abstraction and encapsulation, the end user doesn't need to see those changes. Wherever applicable, the one-liners and more concise code patterns from functional programming can be used to create elegant code. Mixing paradigms and code patterns can increase code quality in so many situations.
I think there's this concept that floats around, and I'm not sure if I'm incorrect or if I am correct, but just because you use functions does not mean it's functional programming. I think a lot of time people goof up functional programming for procedural programming. You know what I mean? And so what is functional programming in the JavaScript world is actually just procedural programming for the most part. And that's that. That's all you're doing. You're just procedural programming Andy, doing procedural programming Andy things, and that's that.
Situations. Multi-paradigm languages are on the rise and are here to stay. It's better to embrace the multi-paradigm approach rather than to bottleneck your code by sticking to only one.
Nothing.
As with any choice, there's going to be pros, but there's also going to be
Not going to
cons.
fall for it.
You might as well take the best from all paradigms and work off of that.
Not going to make a joke.
Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys next time.
I mean, I like the general take of this video. General take of this video is actually really good, which is you should, if you do know some level of functional programming. I'm very weak on the functional programming. Like I'm like ED, right? Like I know very, very little. But taking good concepts from each approach is really, really nice. Like I'm pretty careful when I create classes. If I create a class, I never allow inheritance, right? You just kind of have to come up with some basic things, like some basic general rules, and that's that. And for the most part, you will do very, very fine. These people that are very dogmatic about one approach or the other, I find that actually almost always is the worst. And you know what? I'm going to be real here. The reason why it's almost always the worst to be purely OOP or purely functional is because the actual best programming technique is procedural. I'm sorry. Sorry, sucks to suck. The name is ThePrimeagen. Got him. Got him. Got him. Clip it, ship it, boys. You know what I mean? What do you think of UI? UI is a bunch of declarative syntax that gets broken down into procedural syntax or recompiled into it. And then it's confusing. And then debugging kind of sucks. And then on top of all those things, I am still not convinced that it makes anything any easier. I am not convinced that we're in any better position than we were in when jQuery days. Okay?
Welcome to Costco.
At me. I don't think we're anywhere better. What are you doing in SF this week? I'm not going to tell you. I'm going to hang out, actually. I'm working in a synced video app for one of the, let's see, and where one of the viewer controls playbacks. Oh, gosh, I can't even read that. For all in a room. Any tips? No tips. Not a single tip, baby. All right, this was pretty good. I think Haskell is useless. Oh, no, I don't want to do that one. Presidents have merge conflicts. Wait, what? What? Why I switched from Rust to JS? Oh, people love these kind of things. Let's do one more. I got to do one more. I'm going to do one more. Because I'm going to be out of town for the next... I'm going to be out of town for quite some time. For the next week. This is the last one. And so this is like, I got to do one more just in case. Okay? We're going to do one more. Okay? We're going to do one more. And that's it. That's the last one. I'm actually curious about this one. Why this happened? Let's find out. But before we find out, this is a marker! I'm using a marker! The name is ThePrimeagen. Okay? Whole week? That costs like $5, I've heard. $5 a month! All right, here we go.
In this video, I'm going to tell you the story of why I switched.
Okay, this guy already has a better voice than me. We're not even like a minute into it, and his voice is clearly better than mine. But I will say, I don't like Apple EarPods, okay? I don't like Apple EarPods. I don't like the little danglers coming out your ears, and more so, I don't like interacting with coworkers that use them, okay? This is why, okay? Hear me out on this one. Is that you walk up to your coworker and you're like, hey, yo, Bill, okay, and he's like, yeah, or he does this, yeah, you know, the ceremonious take it out, move it away from your ear move, and then you can talk. Oh my goodness, just hate it, right? I just hate it. Bill, off, Bill, you know what I mean? Just hate it. So I have this thing about these things, okay? I don't like them, okay? I don't like them, okay? Ginger Bill subtweet? You, Ginger Bill!
From JavaScript/TypeScript to Rust.
Okay.
And hopefully it will help you make a more informed decision.
Let's do it.
At the end of the video, I'll also reflect on that decision and talk about whether switching to Rust was a mistake or not. If you're already sold on Rust and want to get a better understanding of it, then make sure to get your free Rust cheat sheet at letsgetrusty.com.
Let's get rusty, boys.
/cheat sheet. Before I ever learned Rust, I was a web and mobile developer for about 5 years.
He could just said he was a soy boy for 5 years. Like, that's all you gotta say. You don't even need to use all those words. You know, we all understand. Every time I make that joke, by the way, I swear my YouTube video gets inundated with people being like, you know, I find the term soy boy or soy dev very problematic. See, here's the reason why, is that if you look at the And it goes on for like 5 minutes, and you're just like, oh my, guy, have you been on the internet? You know, people say things that they don't necessarily, like it's like, stop being such a soy boy and get over it. You know what I mean? I know I'm turning red because I'm screaming.
I started my software development career working at a startup where we built a web app using Node.js for the backend and Angular version 1 for the front end.
No, God!
Yeah, no, I heard Angular 1.
No, God, please, no! 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 No!
Those were the dark years of web development, but luckily,
man, it doesn't sound like he's done jQuery. The man doesn't sound like he used Moo tools. The man doesn't sound like he's programmed for IE6. Okay, there were some dark years out there. Okay, there were some dark years out there in the programming world. Moo tools was divine.
eventually React came along. By that time, I was working for Tableau, a business intelligence and data visualization company that ended.
Tableau can go tableau me. Goodness gracious, is that thing annoying. Have you ever used Tableau? I just should learn how to use it, honestly. It seems like it could actually be really cool. But, every single time, I know, got him good. Every time I use it, I just feel like I just need to make a Sagandhi's joke instead. You know what I mean?
Ended up being acquired by Salesforce. Besides getting to work with React and React Native, I was also introduced to TypeScript at that job, which blew my mind. Having the flexibility of JavaScript coupled with a type safety layer allowed us both to quickly prototype and ship maintainable production-ready code. It felt like going from building a house with Play-Doh to building a house with brick and mortar. One of the big takeaways.
One took 19 times longer. No, I do agree. Once you go onto the TypeScript train, it's really hard to go back. It's true. It's really hard to go back. Okay? It is really hard. Now, is TypeScript type safe? I mean, that's up to the eye of the beholder,
Ways I got from this experience was seeing the value of a strongly typed type system. At this,
I'm going to give it a mediocre. I mean, maybe they could do, TypeScript could probably use a little bit more time at the gym. And then we can call it a strongly typed one,
time, my team also maintained a few other services written in different languages, such as Kotlin. And because we had services written in different languages, there was some duplication between the code bases. We explored different ideas for getting rid of the duplication, and one of the ideas was to rewrite the common logic in a language that could be integrated in all our code bases, which included backend services and front-end clients.
Here it goes. Someone bring out the JavaScript meme, where it's just like the one teapot pouring into all the cups. Oh, what is that, ML? JavaScript. What is that, backend? JavaScript. Here it comes. Here it comes.
One language that was being considered was Rust. This was the first time I ever...
What? Okay, you got me. I did not, I thought it was going to be JavaScript. I thought we were going in the JavaScript direction. Okay.
Never heard of Rust. And because my team was considering using it, and the most senior engineers on my team were enthusiastic about the language, I decided to look.
Enthusiastic also means, hey, what'd you do this weekend? Oh, wow, you were working on a project? Did you write it in Rust? Oh, you don't know? Let me tell you about Rust. I don't want to hear about your project. So anyways, this weekend, what I was writing was Rust.
Into it myself. The more I looked into Rust, the more excited I got about the language. I tried to learn a low-level programming language before, C++ to be specific, and let's just say the experience was not enjoyable. But I was optimistic about Rust because I
really don't like developing in C++. I'm afraid, so I real talk, I am afraid that my learning of Zig, I'm gonna leave learning Zig with some of the feelings I had for C++. You know what I mean? One thing I love about Rust, real talk, is that I don't actually explicitly allocate or deallocate. Like, I know what's happening. The borrow checker's doing it for you. Blah, 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 blah. The implicit drops, all that kind of stuff. And so, I don't know. I wonder if I'm going to love Zig or if I'm going to just be, mediocre at Zig. Like, Zig's meh. I don't know where I'm going to land.
Developers in the Rust community seem to really enjoy programming in Rust. After a few weeks of thought and investigation, I decided to start learning Rust myself. And these are some of the reasons why. First of all, there was a lot of hype around Rust. Senior engineers on my team were raving about it. The Stack Overflow survey showed that it was the most loved programming language year after year, and rewrite everything in Rust memes were popping up all over the place. But the thing
I still love that Stack Overflow is always saying that Rust is the most loved language. Stack Overflow is the site in which people don't know how to program go to answer or to ask questions. And their survey is showing that people love Rust the most. I'm not sure if there's like a conflict of interest there. I'm not sure if this is actually some sort of subliminal messaging. I don't know. Something about it doesn't smell right. Doesn't smell right.
Is I didn't think Rust was just hype or another shiny object, because Rust was solving painful problems in the systems programming space. First of all, Rust of course solved the technical problem of memory safety without sacrificing performance.
You can see the reflection of his phone right here. I just started noticing it over and over again. The reflection of his phone is going blip.
Microsoft famously released a stat saying that 70% of their security vulnerabilities were caused by memory safety issues, which just goes to show.
By the way, did you know that there's this thing that came in for Intel? I haven't been able to find it, but I did read it in about 2015, 2017, somewhere right in there. Intel released a paper that said that it was 56 or 65% of all time spent on servers they went and kind of analyzed were spent copying memory. Think about that for a second. That's all they did. Copy memory. Yikes.
That even with the best engineers in the world, manual memory management is extremely error-prone, and telling developers to be better is not the solution. But Rust also solved another really important pain point. Rust is a low-level programming language for the 21st century. Managing dependencies, building your codebase, and distributing your application is not straightforward in C++. Rust, on the other hand, comes with a build tool and package manager.
Hey, dude, just use CMake. CMake's great. I find it offensive.
Included. And it has a public package registry called crates.io, which is very similar to NPM. For someone like me coming from a web development background, this made Rust very accessible. Rust also has a few other things that make it very accessible, namely great error messages, great documentation, and great...
It doesn't always have... See, people always talk about how great the error messages are. I will agree that the low-level error messages are really good in Rust. Not all low-level messages are great in Rust. Okay, that's it. We're doing it. We're doing it. Don't I have some... I have some sort of Rust in here, don't I? Do I have some sort of Rust in here? I think I do. Do I have it in here? Yeah, I do. Yes, I do. Yes, I do. I can't take it now. This is right next to me. I'll take it in just a moment. But if you have like some sort of like trait, foo, that has like function bar usize, and then you have a struct bar that has, let's see, say, I don't know, pub x, why not? That sounds good. And then you go like this, impl foo, bar of this, banded bam, and you go like this. You're trying to do this, you're trying to do this, and you're trying to figure it out, and you go, okay, well, this one's pretty easy. There's no self thing, so you're like, yeah, that's easy. And you go self. Yeah, of course, I forgot self. Oh, look at this. There he goes. Nice. So if it's near it, you can see it. But sometimes, oh, nice. Okay, never mind. They must have improved it. Okay, now I feel like a stoopy person. Okay, not too long ago, that error message was really tricksy. Okay, that error message was very, very, very confusing. Now it's really great. Okay, so maybe Rust does that. Okay, Rust has great error messages, everybody. I was just joking. Rust is great error message.
Free resources like the Rustling book. Because Rust was so accessible, I thought to myself, this is going to open up systems programming to a whole new demographic of developers. And because of that, it was going to be a game changer for low-level programming. Now, those were some of the external factors that convinced me to learn Rust. But I also had a few personal reasons. I saw that Rust...
It's not white noise. It's green. You know what I mean? I'm not drinking white noise, dog.
Rust had a lot of momentum, and it was still the early stages of a big wave. I thought to myself, if I can catch this wave early, it could have a big payoff in the future. Also, I
do agree. This is actually the exact same reason why I learned how to use Rust. I think this is a really good call out, which is being like always attempting to future-proof yourself is a really good idea. Because here's the deal, is that you don't know what the future is going to hold. And so just being like a one-trick pony, just only being, say, a React dev, like if that's what you refer to yourself as, is a React dev, you've done something wrong. You know what I mean? Like you did the wrong thing. You should always be trying to future-proof yourself, whether or not that's learning React or just learning another UI framework, Svelte, Solid, something else, right? Do anything, right? Become more than just one person. or become more than just one library. Andy, you gotta do a little bit more, even if it's all within your same wheelhouse.
Web and mobile developer for many years, I oftentimes felt like I lacked a deeper understanding of low-level programming. It was a gap in my knowledge, a little void that I wanted to fill, and Rust gave me a chance to do that. And I thought to myself, once I have this understanding of lower-level programming, not only can I build websites and mobile apps, but I could really build any type of software I want. I can create embedded software, I can work on operating systems, etc. And this newfound knowledge would make me
By the way, just because you know Rust, you're not working on an operating system. I just want you to know that now. Those are hard, okay? I really wish, I really did not take the operating system class in college, and that's still like my biggest regret. You know what I mean? My biggest regret. I really wish I did. Because now I gotta go learn it on my own. But to learn it on your own is like a gigantic time commitment. And I'd rather go through a compiler book again, which I'm probably going to. So I kind of have a couple things I want to create with Zig, and one of them is the compiler book. And I don't want to do an OS. I feel like it's a lot of effort. Instead, I want to do a compiler. So that's what I'm going to do. Zig compiler time.
more competitive in the job market. Lastly, I thought to myself, I already have a highly employable skill set with JavaScript, TypeScript, and React, which I can always fall back to. So looking back at the decision to learn Rust, was it a good one? In short, learning Rust was definitely the right decision for me. I now have a deeper understanding of computer science, a valuable skill set, and Rust's momentum is not slowing down anytime soon. In fact, it's just the beginning. All right, guys.
Have you seen what the Foundation's recently done? I really wish this would have at least ended with a sweet meme at the end where he would have been like, yeah, so was this the right decision? I now know this. I now know this. I now know this, and I still am using TypeScript for my full-time job. Was it worth it?
That's it for this video. Let me know in the comment section down below what you think of this type of content in addition to my more technical videos. And before you go, make sure to get your free Rust cheat sheet at letsgetrusty.com/cheat sheet. With that said, I'll see you in the next one.
Let's go. Yeah, I mean, I think overall, I think this is really good for someone to kind of hear these things, because I think a lot of people, they don't. I think the hard part is that a lot of people use this phrase, let's use the best tool for the job. And that it doesn't mean they actually use the best tool. They just say that phrase, right? We all say that phrase, so that way when we go and use whatever tool we're going to use, we just use the wrong tool, right? We use the tool we're most comfortable with. Best tool for the job just simply means best tool that I can use. And that's that. And so I do think it's really good to always be flexing your skills, always going and just using different things so that at some point you know what's the best tool. So let's kind of expand what he's taking and go a bit further. What if you needed to have two different services written in different languages and then a third one for the front end, and you want to be able to share a type system? The problem is that most people only think JSON exists. This is a great place where protobufs could actually be used quite well, and that way you'd have this nice interchange format in which you can kind of generate the types for each one, including in JavaScript or TypeScript. You can have actual TypeScript generation. You could have it in Go. You can have it in Rust, and that way you have this kind of like nice experience in which you have one type system for every, service that's in multiple languages. So is it bad? No, it's actually really good to know that, and you should try using that. And that way, when and how you want to use it, you can go, oh, okay, this was good. Oh, okay, this was bad. It is what it is, right? I think just expanding your breadth of knowledge is like never the bad choice. I know I feel like a broken record. I say this too often. You guys are like, I know. Okay, where's the 2X, Prime? There's no 2X, but I wanted to show you one other thing. Do you see these? Do you see these pills? These are fish oil pills, okay? It's a lot of fish oil, okay? I just want to let you know, take your vitamins, okay? Take your vitamins, okay? They're good for you. The name is ThePrimeagen. There you go. I should become a shirtless vitamin salesman like Alex Jones. I could do that. Damn, that was such a good idea. I don't know why I never even thought of that. Athletic Greens, I could be rich, bitch. Damn. Oh, let's see. Hold on. I saw someone say this one. Let's see. What level did you work through on the Clear's book? Did you get anything valuable from doing the exercise? Work as much as you're, excited about. That's the big thing. It always comes down to that. Are you sure that's not snake oil? Oh, I've been milking that snake oil for a while now, baby. I mean, next thing let's see. Hold on. Any thoughts about a meetup while you're in the Bay Area? So Wednesday night, I was going to go to Oakenry. Anyone wants to join me? Show up at Oakenry, 7 o'clock. I'll be eating at a table. I'll get a table for like 6 or 8. Sounds good? Yeah? If you're going to be in the Bay Area, PST or PDT, I hate you. Oakenry. Dude, if 200 people show up, that'd be so sweet. Should go play Netflix Ultimate. Whoa. Are you part of Netflix? Wait, hold on. On Wednesday? You talking about a little Wednesday day? Is Netflix, is Ultimate still going on at Netflix? Are you playing Ultimate with Netflix? What? Hold on, what's your real name, Matchhead? Do I know you? Because I used to play every Wednesday and Friday. I used to play every Wednesday and Friday. Wait, did you play as well? No way! Yes! Oh my goodness, give me your first name. I know, I used to play with you. Okay. Well, that's sweet. Give me your name. No, I'm kidding. You don't have to say your name. Tater Chip Jones. Oh, do you work at Netflix? By the way, where I work at. Oh, Eric. Let's go. I'm not. Oh, I almost said your last name. I'm not gonna say. Did you see me? I was like, and then I almost did it. You saw it. You saw me do that. I almost just threw it out of my mouth. Gosh, I'm so bad at that. I am the worst. I am literally the worst in the world. Sphincter almost collapsed, I know. Oh, dude, heck yeah, I should do it this Wednesday. I got to move around an appointment. But yeah, I'm going to do that for sure. And he never leaks anything, says Cam. The guy with whom I leaked like deep, dark personal secrets, he still hasn't forgiven me. That was great. Impossible. No, it's possible. Trust me. All right, I got to go. I got to go catch an airplane, and I'm going to go up to San Francisco. Or not San Francisco. What the hell am I saying? I'm going to go up to San Jose, and then on Thursday, I'll be up in San Francisco at the Vercel Send event. You know what I mean? Yeah, don't tell me your SSH key. Oh, I will. I'll verbally say it. I feel after a senior level, you become either a farm boy or a shirtless salesman. I'm going with shirtless salesman. You know what I mean? I want to be that guy. Crafting interpreters? No, I'm not doing that one. I don't do that one. I do this one right here. The interpreter book. Hell yeah, brother. Hell yeah, brother. That's the one I'm doing. When's the Rust? Today. It's coming today. Leak your Coinbase keys again. Okay, that was one time. Reasonable and relatable. That's right. Yeah, you get it, dude in basement. You know what we're talking about around here. Brain, 1.1 HTTP. 588. Don't dox. I'll not dox my mate. I know. I always 588. I 588 hard. Book salesman equals vitamin salesman. I can't wait to be a salesman like that. That sounds, hey, Fire Marcher, thank you very much. I appreciate that. Melon Soda Addict, really. Seems like such a unique one. Meltzer, thank you very much for the brand new Twitch Prime. Thanks for being an amazing inspiration in my journey for engineering. Hey, real talk. I get this message every now and then. Can people type 1 in the chat?
Welcome to Costco. I love you.
Thank you, Nightwalker. Can you type 1 in the chat if I'm actually helping you with your coding journey? I don't believe you guys. I don't believe you guys at all. You guys say that out loud, but I don't know if I say what number? What number for you don't help me out one bit?
Welcome to Costco.
Hey, thank you. Delinks Live. Let's go.
Pass me the meat.
Sorry, I can't read that, Warren Buffering. I see your name go whoop. Thank you very much, Delinks Live. But real talk, I hope you guys all know the point of the stream and everything we're doing is really just to make you feel excited about coding. That's why I do what I do. It's not... I don't come up here and I'm not constantly building a product. And I know I've been kind of recently, is Oakenry happening? Yeah, I'm going to show up. I'm going to literally show up at 7 o'clock on Wednesday. Whoever shows up, shows up. That's all I'm saying. But real talk, I've been getting I've gotten a little bit of hate recently from someone that I wasn't expecting it. And you know, the real deal is that, you know, the reason why I do a lot of this stuff is not because I'm trying to I don't want to just be a React Andy, right? But I realize that it's a great way to give opinions and for you to be able to see opinions and thought processes in a different way. And then I like to build things that I'm not good at on stream so that you can see me struggle and understand it. We all know it's Bill Gates. I know I hate Bill Gates. But I just want you guys to like see and know that you can be excited about things. You know what I mean? I really do. So that's all we're doing around here. Panacoder, to be real, you have a different view on some stuff, and a fresh perspective is good for me no matter how many years of experience I have. Yeah, you know, I mean, where did the term React Andy come from? Oh, just Andy. A lot of Andys, you know what I mean? There's a lot of Andys out there. A lot of Andys in the chat.
Welcome to Costco.
Knox316, thank you very much. Sus. No, there's a lot of Andys. There's a lot of Andys. I think Lucy kept saying Andy in Discord, and he adopted it. Going back to CS degree.
Welcome to
The purpose
Costco.
of CS at university is to learn about the science of computation. Programming languages are just the practice, right? Are just the tool to solve the computational process. Your thoughts? That's not bad. That's not bad. My cat sprinting all day. Should I rewrite him in TypeScript so he can slow down? Absolutely. The vitamin salesman. Yeah. I hope you like that. I hope you like it, me putting it in my mouth. Thank you, Azur Harabai. Thank you. Let's see. Change Shell. I already said thank you. Did say thank you. Knox, thank you. Not the Mac. Hey, Primeagen. Oh, no. I already read that. What the hell? Again, Panacoder, thank you. Appreciate that. Chat and Jippity, thank you for the 1 bit. Wait, the 5 bits. The what bit? The link's live again. Thank you. Ale Stefa, thank you. Your thoughts on working 2 remote jobs at once? Sounds just awful, honestly. Not going to lie, your streams have helped me get excited about programming again. That's what we're going for, babies. All right. Alex
Welcome to
Coliviera.
Costco.
Thank you very much for the brand new Twitch Prime. All right, people, that's the end of my stream today. Next week.
Welcome to Costco. I love you.
My general plan is the following: is that I want to do a suite. I'll probably do a bunch of programming streams next week because that's really what I want to do. Corporate TypeScript programming. I love TJ. Let's do this. Corporate TypeScript programming. Let's go. And so let's do that. Do a compiler. I will start the compiler soon. I gotta get through a few Zig Advent of Code problems first, right? Because I gotta get used to Zig. I want to be able to use a reader and a writer. I want to understand some basic things. You know what I'm talking about? I want to be able to kind of get this. You know what I mean? I want to like really feel, you know, good about my life. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? And then then we're going all in on the Zig move. Okay? Oh, you're being serious. Yeah, I'm being serious. There's a lot of Andys. TJ's background, you like it? Yeah. Let's see. Will you do a compiler for the new for a new or an existing language? It'll be a stupid language. It's gonna be just. Oh my goodness, is that Shy Ronnie? That looks like Shy Ronnie. Aha! Thank you. I appreciate that. Very low raid number. You guys aren't going over for TJ. What the hell? Okay, there's too many of you and not enough in the raid. Get the hell in the raid. Yeah, see, that was Shy Ronnie. You're telling me that does not look like Shy Ronnie? You're telling me that does not look like Shy Ronnie? You're telling me that does not look like Shy Ronnie? You're lying to me. You lie to me. You lie to me. It's bugged. Ah, damn. Hey, go to TJ. Twitch.tv/TeejDV. Bye! Hey, for everyone else that stayed here, appreciate you.